if we can see him this morning in the traffic center because of that heavy fog. And it will be one of those things that will add 10 to 15 minutes to your commute this morning. So please add that extra time. In the meantime, we are talking no-hitter and Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta, the sixth of the baseball season, keeping the Dodgers hitless in a Cubs 2-0 win Sunday night in Los Angeles. Arrieta struck out 12 and walked one on 116 pitches.
It's tough to put that into words because, you think about that all the time and as a kid, and you see other guys around the league do it, and you want to be a part of something like that. So it's, not only special for me and my family and friends, but, for the organization, my teammates.
Chicago avoiding a 3-game sweep, snapping a 4-game losing skid with a victory. Cubs still 5 up on the Giants in the race for the last wildcard spot. The search continues for a man suspected in the brutal attack and sexual assault of a woman in Willowbrook. Police released a sketch of the man yesterday, and police say they may have found the suspect's vehicle in nearby Brookfield. A father and daughter are dead after a crash in Lake County. Christopher Winowitz and his teenage daughter Haley were killed after the car they were riding in collided with another vehicle late Saturday in Lindenhurst. A boil water order is no longer in effect for the University of Chicago and surrounding areas. School says water management lifted the order yesterday afternoon when testing showed the water was safe to use. And plant lovers are being left out in the cold, wanting so much more when the so-called corpse flower failed to bloom yesterday on its own and release a foul-smelling odor at the Chicago Botanical Garden. Hundreds were on hand yesterday to see scientists actually manually cut open the plant nicknamed Spike, saying it lacked the energy to bloom. White Sox over Seattle in 11, 6-5. Another outstanding rookie baseball player in this town, Tyler Saladino, drove in the winning run with a single in the 11th inning. WNBA, Connecticut over the Sky. Bears released veteran quarterback Tim Jennings in their first round of cuts. The news is a service of the American Association of Cancer Research, the largest organization dedicated to finding cures through research. Please support cancer research by donating today at www.aacrfoundation.org. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
On Wednesday, September 16th, the Republican presidential candidates are heading to Hollywood for their second debate, and AM 560 is rolling out the red carpet. Join us for Big Issues on the Big Screen, a debate watch party at the Hollywood Palm Cinema in Naperville. Watch the debate on the big screen. The best way to get tickets? Buy a ticket to Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 and get a free ticket to Big Issues on the Big Screen. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com for details. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Good Neighbor Pharmacy.
5:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Fog and problems on the north side of Chicago up in the Lincoln Center neighborhood. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Mike. Yes, that's right. There's a multi-alarm fire which has rekindled. This is in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue near Lawrence. Streets have been blocked in that area. The firefighter is still busy at the scene. Again, this has been going for hours, and it was going for hours, and now it's rekindled, so it's still a busy fire scene on the north side. That fog is very dense, especially in the western suburbs this morning, where visibilities are down under a quarter mile in some areas, including Aurora and at the DuPage Airport. The expressways, the major weekend construction at the Burns Circle is clearing now. There is now access from the inbound Eisenhower and westbound Congress to get through to the Burns Circle, and also get through as well from the Kennedy to the Eisenhower. Those ramps are reopening. And there's a crash on the outbound Ike at California that's been there a while. 2 right lanes are blocked along with the exit to California. Traffic is a service of Stand Up to Cancer. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answers starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast, a service of Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. In our aircomfort.com weather center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Areas of morning fog, otherwise mostly sunny today, high 85. Clear night, low 68. Mostly sunny and humid tomorrow with a high 89. And a mainly clear and humid night tomorrow night with a low of 70. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
O'Hare and Midway not reporting heavy fog right now. Everywhere else, heavy fog. This morning and right now, we have temperatures at 62 degrees. Your next news update is at 5:30. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
New Iowa poll results put Senator Bernie Sanders within 7 points of a once comfortable Democratic frontrunner, Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump's big splash in Iowa seems to be paying off. He remains perched in double digits at the top of a crowded field. But neurosurgeon and Washington outsider Dr. Ben Carson comes in second place. And if you consider the margin of error, they are virtually tied.
With Hillary Clinton, it just seems to be one scandal after another.
I don't want it to be about me. This is about common sense. It's about doing the right thing.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
This rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter?
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. And so, got a tip of the cap to Jake Arrieta for the no-hitter last night. West Coast time, so a little bit late out in L.A.
Did you stay up and watch it?
I did see it.
You did?
I did.
Did you watch every 112th ball that he pitched?
I did not. I saw the last couple of innings when it became clear that a no-no was on the table.
That's when you tuned in?
Yeah.
Well, it broke their 4-game losing streak, so.
Well, I'll tell you, this could be a magical season for the Cubs after all. And I say that, and I compliment Jake Arrieta as a diehard White Sox fan and a Cubs hater normally. But I should say, when I say magical season, I mean they'll get knocked out by the Cardinals instead of the Pirates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what your prediction is?
Let's not get crazy. Also, over the weekend, lost 2 very fertile minds in very different spaces. Mm-hmm. Wes Craven.
Oh.
Wes Craven, the director, he passed away yesterday. He came up with such gems as Nightmare on Elm Street, of course. And then Oliver Sacks, the neurologist, who wrote Awakenings. Yeah. So.
And you're still grieving over Chocolate Thunder?
Gerald Dawkins. Yes.
Are you still? What did you do to memorialize him this weekend? Did you light a Lady of our Guadalupe candle on your favorite basketball court?
I broke a backboard. No, I had to do it with a sledgehammer as opposed to the
and you
my
needed
athletic
a ladder,
ability.
yeah,
right,
to get up there.
Back in the day.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Is there
I
any
could put
video
it down, not like Gerald Dawkins.
Or film of this, of you dunking? So I was telling my boys that you could dunk, and they said, "Come on, Mom, that's not true." And I said, "No, Dan Proft can dunk."
And so could.
Well,
past tense.
You have dunked a few times. How many times? Half a dozen? Baker's dozen?
Us spectacular dunkers don't keep track of how many times we've dunked.
Oh, you're going to be humble?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a kind of a humble brag. It's not really humility there.
But Dr. J called me back. If you ever want him on the show to talk about Chocolate Thunder, you just let me know.
Okay. Your curious relationship with Dr. J and other basketball stores from the 80s. Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah. Well, I went to his 60th birthday party, and I've known him for, oh my gosh, almost 10 years now.
I went to Dr. J's last game at the United Center. Well, the stadium.
Oh, yeah. Chicago Stadium.
Yeah. No, wait.
Was it?
I think it was the United Center by then. Or was it the
no,
stadium?
No, it was the stadium. It was the
Yeah,
stadium.
I think it was the stadium. Yeah, you're right. I remember because I got a commemorative keychain.
Did you
that
really?
they gave them away when you entered. But yeah, it was nice. Dr. J, great player. All right, on to much more serious matters. The other thing that happened over the weekend in terms of the loss of life, not of natural causes, a Harris County deputy sheriff, Sheriff Goforth, Darren Goforth, pumping gas at a Houston gas station, and individual comes up behind him and executes him. I mean, that's what happened. It was an assassination. It seems implausible that it could have been for any other reason than the fact that he was in uniform. Shannon Miles is the individual who's been arrested for the murder.
Yeah, and can we say his race? A very large African-American male.
He is black. The sheriff in question, the deceased, Sheriff Goforth, is white. Shannon Miles' criminal record includes convictions for resisting arrest and disorderly conduct with a firearm. He is going to be arraigned today. Darren Goforth, 10-year veteran of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. And just to note this, there was an internet meme I saw over the weekend, verified this. This is kind of puts it in a bit of context. We pour over every one of these police cases where you have questionable circumstances in terms of a police-involved shooting, and we, with motorists and the like, and we should. But and it's when it's almost always black and white, black victim I guess victim in most cases, or alleged assailant in some cases, and white officer. So in the last 10 days, these 7 law enforcement officers have been murdered. Henry Nielsen, he is African American. He is the Louisiana officer that was shot and killed. Stephen Vincent, we've talked about, senior state trooper, killed in a traffic stop, Louisiana State Police. Peggy Vasallo, Belfonte Neighbors Police Department in Missouri. Tronosky Jones, African American, detention officer at the Harris County Sheriff's Office. And interestingly enough, Darren Goforth, who we just mentioned over the weekend. James Bava, Missouri State Highway Patrol, and Chad Wolf, Michigan State Police. So a couple of those names we've talked about, not all of them.
No, the Chad Wolf, Michigan State Police. Did you hear what happened to him? He was on his motorcycle on I-75, and a motorist accidentally, who's had a trailer, snipped him some way and dragged him for 4.5 miles before they found his body. It was just a horrific scene.
Right. So then that was accidental.
That was accidental, but still,
the point
they're
is,
putting their lives on the line every day to save us. And there have been 80 officers killed this year, and 27 of them due to gun violence. And most of them have taken place in Texas.
Yeah, Ron Hickman, who is the Harris County Sheriff, had this to say about the assassination. People are calling it an attack. It was an assassination.
I will echo also what the DA mentioned is some of the very dangerous national rhetoric that's out there today. Our system of justice absolutely requires law enforcement to be present to protect our community. So at any point when the rhetoric ramps up to the point where calculated, cold-blooded assassination of police officers happened, this rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter and take that to the bank? Thank you for your attendance.
I mean, to think what this monster did to this police officer after firing a few times from behind, he continued to fire pump bullets into him after he had fallen to the ground. He let off like 22 rounds on this police officer. And he's right. All lives matter. And I'm so sick of the Black Lives Matter movement that, yesterday in church, we still at the lectern still have the Black Lives Matter poster up. And I was so close, Dan. I was sitting in the first row yesterday, and I thought, I'm just going to rip it down. I can just tear it off, and I don't even know if anyone would know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, a couple of things. One is the left is always not always, but in these circumstances when there is a victim that is convenient for them and an aggressor or a responsible party that is convenient for them, they talk about the discourse, the corseting of our national discourse. And we need to be careful about what we say. I mean, again, these are the purveyors of political correctness.
Yeah.
So we blame rhetoric. But in this instance, I don't hear the left being consistent about the impact of rhetoric. Now, rhetoric, even offensive rhetoric, does not bother me. I'm not suggesting we should have infringement upon people's rights to freely express themselves, even in ugly ways. That's what the left does. But it'd just be nice if there was a little bit of consistency. I know that's too much to ask from them. So that's one piece of it. The other thing is this whole Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. Doesn't it say something about how far we have fallen, how uncivilized we have become, that we have to have hashtag campaigns to kind of reaffirm that lives matter, Black Lives Matter, police lives matter, all lives matter.
Well, my church, only Black Lives Matter.
Well, it's just good to know. Did we just come to this realization? I mean, is this some kind of revelation that lives matter? I guess to some extent it is, but I suppose that speaks to the cheapening of human life in our modern time, our advanced time.
I understand why the hashtag Black Lives Matter, I understand why it began, but it needs to stop now. I'm done with it. I don't want to hear a Black Lives Matter march. I'm over it.
Well, good thing you were at the Minnesota State Fair over the weekend, because because they descended on Minnesota, the Black Lives Matter crowd. I mean, crowd is generous. Yeah.
Well, no, it was pretty big protest.
Yeah. What I saw walking the street and saying what I'm about to play was fairly sparse, but the politicians were there, so Black Lives Matter was there to get their camera time. And here's what they had to say. Remember, this is talk about sensitivity. And something on the left always talks about as well. Sensitivity in the wake of a Houston deputy sheriff being assassinated within 24 hours of this.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. 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 Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
I didn't hear that.
They only have one lyric.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
Fry 'em like bacon. Yeah, pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. That's the contribution to the discourse you get from Black Lives Matter in the wake of the officers I've just mentioned who've been killed on the job, and as well as the Houston deputy sheriff of the weekend, Ed in Oak Brook.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost tired of all the time, like the media, even like today, you're saying we. There's nothing about we. My life's always mattered to me, and I bet a ton of your other listeners. So when you say we, it's like I have some kind of involvement in the liberal media or the media just saying this we stuff. It's got nothing to do with we. It's the people that perpetrate this stuff that causes these kind of problems or these issues, and it's them.
Yeah.
Not we.
All right. Thanks for the call, Ed.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Big news this morning locally is that thick, dense fog. You got to be careful out there. Sometimes you might miss your exit on the way to work. Otherwise, today, once that burns off, it will be mostly sunny, warm, a high of 85 degrees, and really warm all week. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid, a high near 90. Let's get the travel times. I'm sure the fog is affecting the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
It is. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. It's down to under a quarter-mile visibility in parts of DuPage County, Aurora, and around a quarter mile in Waukegan and Romeoville. So throughout the area, there's pretty severe fog right now. There is a crash on the outbound Eisenhower. Actually, it's ongoing investigation of an overnight crash in California. On the outbound side, the exit ramp is blocked along with two right lanes. You might slow down just a bit in that area. The inbound side is still good. Inbound Ryan, a little heavy approaching downtown. North side, there's a major fire which has rekindled a multi-alarm blaze. 4800 block of North Lincoln, near Lawrence and Western. Lincoln Square, there's some closures as an ongoing active fire scene there. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
AM AST for Industry. This is John Haidt. My company is Anti-Seize Technology. We are the company behind hundreds of products used by industry and manufacturing worldwide. For over 35 years, my local company has made lubricants, adhesives, and sealants. I put my products up against any other company for quality and value. That's why we say AST for Industry.
Your maintenance crew can save time, money, and your equipment. Slick-On Flow Lube is a superior spray-on industrial lubrication for your sliding, rolling, squeaky, turning, press-fitting needs. Slick-On Flow Lube keeps your equipment in service and reduces costly breakdowns. Slick-On Flow Lube is a great product for your maintenance team from Anti-Seize Technology.
We will prove products from Anti-Seize Technology are better for your industry. Contact us for a demonstration. Go to AST4Industry.com. Remember, AST4Industry.com. Check out our line of lubricants, adhesives, and sealants for your company. AST4Industry.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I will tell you one thing, and he's sick all winter. He wasn't sick at all this winter, not one time.
I've taken vitamins my whole life, and this is really the only thing that I've ever really felt like that did anything.
That's why I kept coming down with the flu. And she said, double them, triple them. And that's what I did since then, and I haven't had the flu. So I know it works.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 4.
Worn-out tires can cost you a lot more than new tires.
It's true. In the long run, badly worn tires put stress on suspension parts,
which can lead to real expensive repairs.
Worn tires have poor traction.
That's why so many families are riding on Merlin 200,000-mile warranty tires.
What's your family riding on?
Stop in at your local Merlin 200,000-mile shop for details and a free tire inspection today.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
If you've been making trails all summer, now's the time to get ready for fall. Follow the trail to your local Merlin shop for a free tire inspection. And right now, you can get up to a $70 rebate on a set of Ford General tires during the Making Trails promotion. Go to merlins.com for locations, coupons, and to make an appointment.
AM 560, The Answer.
Boy, Tim Jennings, we were talking about my glory days, they'll pass you by in the blink of an eye. When I used to be able to dunk, Tim Jennings cut by the Bears.
The first one to be cut, former cornerback now. But they have to cut 72 people off their roster. So he was called into the office first, I've been told.
Time catches up to us all. Some people can't dunk anymore. Other people can't close on a receiver. That's sad. Makes me feel older.
Why you're visibly upset by this?
Well, I'm, at this point, I'm just waiting for the merciful finger of death to tap me on the shoulder. So I had a good run.
Eventually, we're all going to die, right?
That's a happy note. We were talking about Black Lives Matter and the protests that they lodged at the Minnesota State Fair over the weekend. The flip side of that is interesting. It didn't get a lot of old media coverage, of course not. But Glenn Beck had a rally, a unity rally, in Birmingham, Alabama, and was joined by the likes of friend of the show, Dr. Alveda King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece, actor Chuck Norris.
Oh, Texas Walker Ranger. Love that show.
Or Walker, Texas Ranger.
Or Walker,
Ranger.
Texas Ranger, excuse me.
Historian David Barton, Bishop Jim Lowe, Ted Cruz's father, Rafael Cruz. I think it was something on the order of 20,000 people in Birmingham that marched through the streets with signs that read, "All lives matter, God is the answer." It was very, very unifying. That was kind of the point. And then there was a little bit of rally after the fact. So there is, and pictures of Frederick Douglass. Pictures of Stephen Douglas with the word courage. Pictures of Abraham Lincoln with the word justice. It was interesting to see. So you juxtapose what was a small group of agitators at the Minnesota State Fair compared to 20,000 in Birmingham. And I guess to add in Oak Brook's point,
there is not a we, there's a us and a them, but that's kind of part of the problem, the us and the them, and I think that's what the Glenn Beck rally was trying to speak to. But it's interesting to note because, look, 20,000 people marched through the streets of Birmingham, a diverse crowd with a singular message. I think it's worth noting if we're going to cover the rich vicissitudes of the hashtag Black Lives Matter action.
Well, how can we make the Black Lives Matter hashtag go away? Or is this just
you can't.
our new reality?
Well, you can't. It's a ultimately when they do things like they did over the weekend, they will continue to lose legitimacy and marginalize themselves. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of let them do your work for you because their approach is so incendiary and the substance of what they have to say so flimsy that they'll ultimately wash away. Jay in Schaumburg. Hey, Jay.
Good morning. I'm wondering if the Black Lives Matter rally crowd joined the pro-life group because do aborted Black Lives Matter?
Right. Thanks for the call, Jay. I mean, it's a good question. I think that would be more in the all lives matter category. The Black Lives Matter, they're not so concerned about black on black crime. They're not so concerned about Planned Parenthood. They're just concerned about taking it to the police. It's a little bit of kind of, 1968 redux, but I don't think they're going to have quite the impact on the conventions that the anti-Vietnam War crowd had back in 68. But I think that's their intent. I think they want to make a spectacle, and with respect to both parties. You've seen the likes of Bernie Sanders shouted off stage, but I just don't think that they have the currency in the public mind to accomplish what they set out to accomplish, and thank goodness for that.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At LifeQuotes.com, you can compare the rates of 50 top-rated life insurance companies in seconds. A healthy 40-year-old male can now apply for $500,000 of high-quality term life insurance for less than $22 per month. A $1 million policy can cost as little as $33 per month. Females pay even less. The LifeQuotes.com price comparison service is online, private, and convenient. And if your health history is less than perfect, our rater can handle up to 35 common illnesses such as elevated cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and more. We make it easy to search the market in seconds, view the lowest possible rates, and apply online to the company of your choice. 300,000 people have saved money buying life insurance policies through LifeQuotes.com because they liked our direct style of doing business. Visit LifeQuotes.com today to see how much you could save.
Thanks to all of you listeners who have purchased thousands of MyPillows over the last 18 months and are enjoying your best sleep ever, but that still leaves, thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. So what are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. Don't wait any longer. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, MyPillow is washable and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. It conforms to your neck and back. It's made in America, and there's a 10-year warranty on that bad boy. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy. Do it now, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yes, indeed.
Your
boss.
glory days.
Coming up at 5:36, which party will disintegrate into ash first, the Republicans or Democrats?
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good Monday morning to our good friend, Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Stories we're following right now, including dozens of Chicago firefighters on the scene of a rekindled 311 fire on the northwest side. Fire department did issue a Mayday call early this morning around 1 a.m. when a firefighter could not be located. That firefighter was later found uninjured. That hardware store is on the first floor of that building. A nearby 98-year-old bowling alley appears to be destroyed. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta has thrown the 6th no-hitter of the season Arrieta striking out 12 on 116 pitches.
It's tough to put that into words because, you think about that all the time and as a kid, and you see other guys around the league do it, and you want to be a part of something like that. So it's, not only special for me and my family and friends, but, for the organization, my teammates.
Cubs still 5 up on the Giants in the race for the last wild card spot. Much of South and Central Florida under a flood watch as what's left of Tropical Storm Erica hits the region with a deluge. Reporter Wendy Grossman says many cities like Miami are prepping as best they can.
That is with any storm, whether or not it's hurricane season, and they have been working very hard in the city to add more pumping stations so that they can deal with that. The same process is going on in other cities close to Miami Beach like Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale.
Much of the drought-stricken southern portion of that state is expected to get heavy rain. Hurricane Ignacio weakening from a Category 3 storm to a tropical storm as it gets set to brush Hawaii's Big Island and Maui later today. The man charged with the shooting and killing of a suburban Houston sheriff's deputy is scheduled to be arraigned later today. Shannon Miles is charged with capital murder in the death of Darren Goforth. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders gaining ground on Hillary Clinton and her once commanding lead in Iowa. Because of that, Sanders wants more debates in the Democratic primary.
When 80% of young people did not vote in the last election, 63% of all Americans did not vote, I think debates are a good thing.
Sanders on CNN's State of the Union Sunday. Well-known horror film director and Wheaton College grad Wes Craven is dead at the age of 76. Craven died at his L.A. home after suffering from brain cancer. You know him from his credits on A Nightmare on Elm Street with that iconic character Freddy Krueger. Search continues for a man suspected in the brutal attack and sexual assault of a woman in the southwest suburbs of Willowbrook. Father and daughter are dead after a crash in Lake County. Coroner's office says Christopher Winowitz and his teen daughter were killed after the car they were riding in collided with another vehicle. And a federal judge at a Chicago bench trial says he'll return a verdict as soon as today in the case of a prominent lawyer accused of instructing clients and witnesses to lie. It's the Bo Brindley case that we have been following for you. White Sox over Seattle 6-5 in 11. Bears release veteran cornerback Tim Jennings. He led the league in interceptions with 9 in 2012. This, of course, after the Bears suffered a preseason loss to the Bengals. The news service of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. It's 3 p.m. School is out, and when school is out, clubs are in. Time to support Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes we haven't seen the last of Joe Biden.
Joe Biden huddling with Elizabeth Warren at his residence over the weekend unexpectedly. He summoned Elizabeth, Chief Pocahontas Warren. I'm telling you, I've been saying it all along. Joe Biden's going to run. Get ready for a Biden-Warren ticket.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This week at Whole Foods Market, pick up juicy summer peaches at $1.48 per pound. Stock up on healthy at Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store.
Every night, you believe you rest easy, knowing that if something bad happens, you have insurance coverage. You've shopped around for the lowest price, secured coverage, and backburnered thinking about it ever since. But that might be a mistake. At Myers Glaros Group, they know you've worked hard for what you have, and that's why they work so hard to protect what you've built. When you purchase insurance from a single agent, chances are that person may not be familiar with all the lines of coverage you need. The Myers Glaros Group is a team of combined specialists in each insurance category to ensure your policy coverage is accurate. Insurance is a big picture concept, and all of your important policies need to be interconnected and strong. Myers Glaros Group can keep you from unforeseen financial setbacks because you didn't understand the coverage. Insurance tailored to you and your business. From Myers Glaros Group. Your risk, your needs, their focus. Call 219-865-6447. That's 219-865-6447 or online at myersglaros.com.
5:36. Let's get an update on the roads at our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Drivers, please allow some extra following distance this morning. That fog is especially dense in many parts of the Chicago area. And we've just got a report of a head-on crash in Lockport. State Street is closed between 19th and Daggett due to this collision. North side of Chicago, there's a multi-alarm fire which is rekindled. 4800 block of North Lincoln near Lawrence and Western. So firefighters have some things blocked off there. Inbound Bishop Ford, little slow, 103rd to the merge. Ryan, about a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson to the Burn Circle, where all that major weekend work has cleared now. Metro's Milwaukee West line has a delay. The train due downtown at 5:30 is running about 30 minutes late. There was a vehicle stuck on the tracks near Wooddale. Traffic is a service of UPSjobs.com. UPS is seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and an attractive benefits package with up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at UPSjobs.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast, a service of Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. In our aircomfort.com weather center, we're seeing areas of morning fog. Otherwise, sunny and warm today, high near 85. Clear and 68 overnight, and a warm, humid day ahead tomorrow, high 89. Again, heavy fog across much of the area, but not at our reporting stations at O'Hare and Midway, where they're only reporting a light fog this morning. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, what you've done for me lately?
Oh, no.
Janet Jackson, right?
What have you done for me lately? Yeah, Janet Jackson.
Well, now we've established that I do a better Janet Jackson than you do, so that's good. That's good to know.
I beg to differ, Dan.
Do you want me to do Rhythm
voice.
Nation right now? Do you want me to do it right now?
Oh my God. Fine. I know you're a better break dancer than me.
We are a part of Rhythm Nation. Isn't that how it went? Yes. All right, 312-642-5600. That's our Turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, Turnkey.pro text line. The question is, are we seeing the disintegration of the two political parties, starting with the Republican Party? Eric Erickson of Red State suggested that basically the ultimate decline of Donald Trump will be seen as proof by Republican Panjan drums that they need to do nothing to change the trajectory of the party, and they'll, like he compared him to the Bourbons of France, they'll forget nothing and learn nothing. Ross Douthat, a bit more on this over the weekend, developed this idea a little bit more. He writes in the New York Times, when the two-party system is functioning at its best, party leaders can integrate compelling third-party ideas or even reorient a party entirely to react to a public discontented with its options. I think a public discontented with its options is a pretty good description of the electorate at present. But Douthat suggests it's been more than 4 decades since there was such a reorientation. He goes on to talk about Trump specifically, because that's largely who we're talking about, although the Democrats have fissures as well. But he goes on to talk about Trump, and he says, it matters a great deal how Trump loses. In a healthy two-party system, the GOP would treat Trump's strange success as evidence that the party's basic orientation may need to change substantially so that it looks less like a tool of moneyed interest and more like a vehicle for middle American discontent. In an unhealthy system, the kind I suspect we inhabit, the Republicans will find a way to crush Trump, without adapting to his message, in which case the pressure that Donald has tapped will continue to build, and when it bursts, the GOP, as we know, may go with it. The end of the GOP, depending on how Trump exits, when he ultimately does,
he's not going to exit.
Well, I mean, I subscribe to the premise that ultimately he is going to dissipate in terms of popular support. Maybe that's wrong, but for the sake of this argument, let's say that happens, because this is where you would have the potential watershed moment that Douthat is referring to. Trump exits the stage. How does the GOP respond? How does the GOP treat Trump throughout this process? That's of preeminent concern to Trump.
Well, he said yesterday that the GOP, the Republicans, the RNC, and Reince Priebus, they're treating him fairly, and he likes what he sees so far.
Well, that's super. But then if he does start to fade and he does ultimately exit the stage when that occurs, how does the GOP respond? In a healthy way, as Dothat describes, or in an unhealthy way where they just dismiss Trump as a flash in the pan, as a temporary temper tantrum, and they go about their merry way of continuing to operate as they have? I agree with Dothat and Erickson and others, and even to some extent Trump, that if the GOP doesn't adopt the sensibility in part that Trump is tapping into, if they don't address the discontent, then they will marginalize themselves. And even good candidates, like the candidate I support, Scott Walker, I think have been missing the boat on this. And this is why in part why you've seen Scott Walker kind of regress
fall in the polls.
Well, regress to the mean, even in Iowa, where he had the lead for 5 months. He had he started out strong in Iowa with a speech that kind of galvanized people, in addition to the record that he built in Wisconsin. So the two of those things were pretty substantial, pretty compelling. But then he's kind of regressed back to being, rhetorically speaking, a standard issue establishment Republican candidate, and that is not kind of feeding the appetite out there. Trump is, and here's the other interesting thing over the weekend, Carson.
Yeah, Ben Carson, his latest polls, I mean, he's within striking distance of Donald Trump. And he was campaigning in Iowa yesterday, and he just reminded them that he's a non-establishment guy. He's not a Washington insider, and people are attracted to that. That's why people like Donald Trump and Ben Carson, because they're not the Washington establishment.
And to some extent, Carly Fiorina. But here's the interesting thing about Carson. Is Carson getting wall-to-wall coverage on the cable news channels? Is Carson, making headlines with each passing day? No, he is not. And so as Iowans tune into this race and you have the candidates that are there as much as they're there, it's interesting to see who's popping. Trump has popped. Carson is popping. Cruz is on the move. Mm-hmm. So what does that tell you, Republican Party leadership? It is not just a temporary temper tantrum. The idea that a lot of these candidates that we've just described, that they're promoting in varying ways, to kind of both in terms of more intellectual way like Carson and a more populist way like Trump, is that the system is rigged, and it's rigged against people who play by the rules for people who make the rules. And if the Republican Party at writ large is seen as a tool for that scam, then it's going to be very difficult to win a national election in the near term.
Well, this is the kind of rhetoric that Iowans are embracing. Here's Dr. Ben Carson.
I will never go and lick the boots of rich people and special interest groups.
And that made the news. I mean, it was, after 3 sound bites of Donald Trump, but then they threw in Ben Carson because he is surging in the polls. And it's just more proof that they do want a non-traditional candidate in the GOP.
And here's the other thing I think people are increasingly realizing. You know what? It turns out a lot of people can be a U.S. senator. A lot of people can be a governor. A lot of people can be a president of the United States. Ben Carson is a serious guy, an accomplished guy. The idea that because he hasn't been in the political arena, he doesn't have the capacity to be president of the United States, to be the chief executive, as compared to some of the chief executives we've had in the recent past, most notably the last 6 years. Obviously, people just reject that out of hand because they should, because you have a capable guy and you surround him with other capable people. And boy, oh boy, we could do a lot worse than Ben Carson. And some of the candidates in the Republican field that are former governors, or current office holders, current senators, people feel like they would be worse than a Ben Carson. And I agree with them. Let's go to Al in Munster, Indiana. Al, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. Well, on this issue about the disintegration, I think it's the Democrats. Currently, they only hold 7 states with full control, 14 with partial. They've lost 66 out of 99 state legislatures.
Correct.
Now is the time to strike and really reduced the Democratic Party to nothing in this country.
Well, but that's a valid point, Al, but do you agree with the Ross Douthat assessment that if the GOP doesn't adopt, doesn't respond to what Trump and Carson and others are tapping into, Cruz, that they risk not being in that majority position you just described in the near term?
Oh, I definitely agree. I mean, right now people are seeing that, hey, our leadership is backed off. We have a minority party that's still dictating control. And it's about, if the Republicans don't get it together, they're going to lose people that, hey, have been with them for a very long time.
Thanks for the call, Al.
What about your guy Walker with his proposed wall between the United States and Canada? Was he trying to grab headlines there, or was he serious?
I'm not sure that we need to build a whole lot of walls. It's an interesting story over the weekend. Listen to this. Just speaking of immigration, since that's the issue that's dominating. The largest group of immigrants coming to the U.S.
Let me guess. Poland?
No. Immigrants from China and India, many with student work visas, have overtaken Mexicans as the largest groups coming into the United States, according to U.S. Census Bureau research released in May. And this is a sea change compared to a decade and a half ago. Mexicans still dominate the overall composition of immigrants in the U.S., accounting for more than a quarter. But of the 1.2 million newly arrived immigrants here legally and illegally counted in 2013, China led with 147,000, followed by India with 129,000, followed by Mexico with 125,000. Compare that to 2000, where there were 402,000 from Mexico and no more than 84,000 from each India and China. So I don't know how we build a wall. I mean, well, China has a wall. But, I mean, I don't know how we build walls with respect to China and India.
When they're coming through in the airports and not leaving. Maybe we should put, FedEx tracking like devices on them.
Okay, Chris Christie. Or maybe we need like a dome over the United States like the Simpsons movie. Maybe that's what we're going to go to next.
Our country's in big trouble.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of fog this morning. It's pretty dicey out there. It's like pea soup with the fog, but it should subside by this afternoon, should burn off, and then we'll have mostly sunny skies. Warm, finally, a high of 85 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 68, and tomorrow, even warmer, mostly sunny, hot and humid, a high near 90. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Lockport, got a head-on crash. State Street is closed in Lockport between 19th and Daggett. Got a fire on the north side. Crews still working some hot spots in Lincoln Square near Lawrence and Western, actually in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue in Lincoln Square. Slow heading to O'Hare now on westbound 190 from before River Road into the terminal area. The main lanes of the Kennedy are still pretty good. It's getting a little heavy outbound, though, approaching the airport. Inbound Stevenson, you've got a 2-minute delay Cicero to Kedzie. The Rhine, a 5-minute delay coming into downtown. There's a delay on the Milwaukee West line. Metro says due to a vehicle that was stuck on the tracks near Wooddale. The train that was due downtown at 5:30, running about 35 minutes late. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Summer is here, and your business can't afford mechanical issues with its HVAC system. You also don't want just anyone doing the job. When you want the best trained and skilled team, you want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading full-service mechanical HVAC and refrigeration provider. Each year, Air Comfort invests in ongoing staff training to keep up with changes in technology and products. Why is training so important? Because Air Comfort understands that doing the job the right way the first time is just the beginning of a long-term relationship with its clients. That's why Air Comfort is a proud supporter of the UA Standard of Excellence and is certified as a star contractor by MSCA. With more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby to serve your HVAC needs. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has earned the trust of thousands of customers with businesses just like yours. To find out more, call 708-345-1900 or visit them online at aircomfort.com.
America has a serious narcotics problem. 90% of the world's narcotics are taken by Americans. They have a place, but when you're dealing with chronic pain, pain that doesn't go away or which frequently returns, there is a better way. You're masking the pain. We help you find and deal with the source of the chronic pain to get real relief. This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in pain. Our team are national leaders and we're educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. Contact us, we will help you. You don't have to live with chronic pain. We treat all pain. We don't mask it with painkillers and narcotics that are not good for you and which can be addictive. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 66. That's the percentage of fourth graders in the state of Illinois who neither read nor do math at a fourth grade level. 2/3 of the children among the 2.1 million grammar school students in the state are falling behind before they get to fourth grade. Is this a state spending problem? State spending on K through 12 education has increased by more than 60% in real terms during the past 2 decades. Perhaps it's how the money is spent rather than how much of it is spent. And perhaps it's time to rethink how we do K through 12 education in the 21st century. Things like at what grade level we teach foreign languages, in what order do we teach science, and the length of the school day. This should sound an alarm for those in charge of funding and administering K through 12 education in Illinois to finally force real system change. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That website, upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, come on. You can sing this one. Too shy, hush, hush,
You know who sang this? Do you know who sang it?
I always think it's Boy George.
It's not Boy George.
But he sounds like Boy George.
That is really displaying a...
Are you going to take me to HR over this?
Well, I'll tell you what. I would expect a little bit more knowledge of 80s music from you. I'm not upset. I'm disappointed. That's all.
I think you'll get over it.
Kaja Gugu.
Kaja Gugu.
Come on.
Get it right, don't get it on.
I'm not as upset about that as Marty O'Malley. He's a former governor of Maryland who's running for president of the United States. I'm not kidding. He actually is.
Well, yeah, and former mayor of Baltimore.
Yeah, he did a great job there. Baltimore's going very well. He was at the DNC re-education camp or whatever it is that they hold. Debbie Wasserman Schultz presides over.
Was that in Delaware or was that a different one? This was...
I don't know where they had their summer solstice meeting. But O'Malley is openly, hotly complaining about the number of debates or the lack of debates on the Democrat side. It's very interesting. He questioning what exactly is going on. Is everybody in the tank for one Hillary Clinton? He had this to say. Oh, and the reception from Todd Christensen, a.k.a. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, was quite chilly.
We are the Democratic Party, not the undemocratic party. If we are to debate debates, the topic should be how many, not how few.
What? Excuse me? Can I have a translation, please?
He's saying we should have more debates. We're not the undemocratic party. We're the Democratic Party. Actually, Marty O'Malley just found out what they actually are. They are the undemocratic party. So after he uttered that statement during his allotted time, then Wasserman Schultz sauntered up to stage, and she was none too happy, visibly none too happy. Now, she didn't address what he said, but obviously that was a shot right across her bow, and she's still trying to figure out what's the difference between a Democrat and a socialist, so she doesn't need another headache.
First debate is October 13th, just in case you care. For the Democrats.
Oh, especially if Uncle Joe's in. That is must-watch TV.
I love it.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Steve DeJohn with the DeJohn Advisory Team, and if you have an IRA, 401k, brokerage accounts, CDs, or any retirement money, please call 866-515-6669 to get your free Paycheck for Life quote. You will be amazed on how much money you can get annually for the rest of your life. Here's what we just did for a 54-year-old client who had a $500,000 401k rollover. He received over $66,000 in free bonus money added to his original $500,000 401k. In addition, at age 70, he will receive over $79,000 every year for as long as he is alive. Visit yourretirementcheck.com or call 866-515-6669 to get your free DVD. This DVD has many other examples for you to look at. Call 866-515-6669. That's 866-515-6669 or visit yourretirementcheck.com.
You have the AC on, but part of your house, maybe a room, maybe an entire area, is too hot or maybe even too cold. The problem's been there for a while and you just put up with it. Well, it's time to find out why that's happening and maybe fix it.
This is Terry Van Summeren. My company is Air Right Heating and Cooling. Our name says it all. Let's get the air right.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is offering a special deal right now for just $98. They will come to your home and find out why that area or room is too hot or too cold. You pay a lot for your AC. And you shouldn't have to put up with the problem. Sometimes the fix is simple. For just $98, Air Right will find out why you have the problem. So find out how you can get your air right now. Go to getmyairright.com. Getmyairright.com. Tell them you want the special offer to get your air right. Just $98 to get the comfort back. Want to call them? 888-589-8584. 888-589-8584. Air Right. Decades of helping Chicagoland get the air right.
The sounds of an accident. You or a loved one has been injured. Your mind is racing. What happened? Is everyone okay? What now?
I'm Dan Compton of Compton Law Group. We know that at a time like this, you want answers. More importantly, you want justice for what has taken place. If you or a loved one has been injured, please, before you sign something or talk to anyone, call Compton Law Group. This is our specialty, fighting for your rights, fighting for you, and making sure that justice is served. You can reach me at 847-742-6100. That's 847-742-6100. It's my job to make sure that you, your family, and your loved ones are protected and compensated properly. We handle nursing home accidents, car, truck, and motorcycle accidents, construction accidents, and medical malpractice.
When accidents happen, and they will happen, make sure you have Compton Law Group on your side. 847-742-6100 or online at ComptonLawGroup.net. When accidents happen, take the appropriate action with Compton Law Group.
Ask any Chicagoan for directions and you'll hear, get on the Eisenhower, take the Ronald Reagan, go to the Jane Addams, avoid the Bishop Ford. You know all the roads by name because you spend hundreds of hours in your car in some of the worst traffic ever. So it's no surprise that you see crashes and accidents every day. Thankfully, it wasn't you. But when it is, the only name you need to remember is Turry's Auto Body, Inc.
They take the stress out of your collision repair with in-house tow-in service and complete follow-through with your insurance company. Turry's employs iCar trained technicians, meaning the person working on your car has been specifically trained in auto collision repair. The environmentally friendly painting is done in computerized downdraft booths, and prompt personal service will put you back on the road in no time. You'll drive away with a smile on your face because your car looks and sounds the same as it did before the accident. Turry's Auto Body, open 6 days a week with locations in Bellwood on Manheim and in Villa Park on North Ave and Ardmore. Turry'sAutoBody.com. Quality collision repair.
A no-hit win for Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta. I'm Mike Scott. That story coming up. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. No president has ever gone to the Alaskan Arctic. President Obama will change that this week, and he's not the only change he's making is he goes to focus on climate change. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
The president wants you to call it Mount Denali. The tallest mountain in North America is being renamed after decades of being known as Mount McKinley, named after the nation's 25th president. Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski supports the change, which Alaskans have been wanting since 1975. In a video message, she said the change will show
honor, respect, and gratitude to the Athabascan people of Alaska.
The president will spend 3 days in Alaska pushing for aggressive action against climate change. Lawmakers in Ohio, where McKinley was from, are upset over the change, calling it executive overreach. Dave.
Rachel, a man accused of killing a sheriff's deputy in Harris County, Texas, will be arraigned today.
The Chevron gas station where the shooting happened has become a makeshift memorial. More than 800 people from the community, folks from the general public, also sisters and brothers of law enforcement. They've been placing balloons, cards, stuffed animals, signs at the pump where Deputy Goforth was gunned down.
Fox's Casey Stiegel. The sheriff believes that Shannon Miles targeted the deputy because he was law enforcement. A memorial in Virginia for the two journalists murdered on live TV last week.
Try not to be angry at God.
But anger, what a destructive force.
WDBJ General Manager Jeff Marks, morning. Allison Parker and Adam Ward. He says mental health should not be on the periphery of health care. Eric is faded in the Caribbean, though what used to be that tropical storm will rain on Florida this week. While in Hawaii, Hurricane Ignacio is expected to weaken as it passes by. The only real threat, high surf. He frightened us on film. Famed director Wes Craven has died.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
Well, Scream might be your favorite. It was one of Craven's big hits. So was A Nightmare on Elm Street. He was 76 and he'd battled brain cancer. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
We have some clouds this morning, heavy fog in the area. It's quite a battle in the far western suburbs for visibility this morning, down to a quarter mile in some spots. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Dozens of Chicago firefighters are also on the scene of a rekindled 311 fire on the northwest side. Fire department did issue a mayday call in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue this early morning when a firefighter could not be located battling that blaze. Later, that firefighter was found uninjured. A hardware store was located on the first floor of that building. A 98-year-old bowling alley appears to be destroyed. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta has tossed the sixth no-hitter of the season. Arrieta kept the Dodgers hitless in a 2-0 Cubs win. Says it was special to share with his teammates.
It's tough to put that into words because, you think about that all the time and as a kid, and you see other guys around the league do it, and you want to be a part of something like that. So it's, not only special for me and my family and friends, but, for the organization, my teammates.
Chicago avoids a 3-game sweep and snaps a 4-game losing streak with the victory. Search continues this morning for a man suspected in a brutal attack and sexual assault on a woman in Willowbrook. The woman was stabbed multiple times and was sexually assaulted, according to police. Police say they may have found the suspect's vehicle in nearby Brookfield. 2 men are facing reckless homicide charges following a crash in Robbins that left 2 parents dead, their 3 children hurt. Cook County authorities say Craig Stevenson and Douglas McGrew were drag racing on Central Park Avenue last Thursday night when they smashed into a minivan near 137. A South Bend police officer working a routine investigation has reportedly been fired on by someone in a passing vehicle. Police Lieutenant Joe Galea says the officer was taking a vandalism report Sunday when he heard shots fired and saw a red Ford Focus speeding away. No injuries were reported. Chicago sports, White Sox over Seattle, 6-5 in 11. WNBA, Connecticut over the Sky, 72-68. And the Bears have released veteran corner Tim Jennings. The news service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Many rose up with violence. He sat down for peace. Mahatma Gandhi reached out with the strength cultivated within his soul. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Last year, hundreds of AM 560 listeners joined together for Freedom Summit Chicago. This year, on Saturday, November 14th, Freedom Summit returns. This full-day event will feature some of the nation's top conservative speakers, including AM 560's Sean Hannity. You'll also be able to attend seminars on grassroots activism, developments in public policy, and organizing for victory in 2016. Tickets start at just $29. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com to purchase yours today. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Good Neighbor pharmacy.
It is 6:06, and in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center, with all the foggy details, here's Jim Telemonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. And at O'Hare with that fog, we're seeing a few delays, mainly affecting arriving flights right now. Most departures are moving as scheduled, but we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, heading to O'Hare on the roads, it's pretty heavy now on the outbound Kennedy with delays from Lawrence to the airport. It is 31 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. Then you have delays on westbound 190 as well from the Kennedy into the terminal area. The inbound Kennedy for now is delay-free. The Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower, a little tight. Manheim to First, 32 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 30. Stevenson is 39 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways look good. In Lockport, State Street is closed between 19th and Daggett due to a head-on crash. Traffic is a service of Unbound. Poverty doesn't discriminate. It feeds on the forgotten. At Unbound, they believe in the collective wisdom of society's oldest and most vulnerable. Learn more at unbound.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Let's get the very latest on the foggy morning with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A dense fog advisory in effect this morning for outlying areas. Otherwise, mostly sunny and warm today with a high 85, then a clear night tonight with a low of 68. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
62 at O'Hare, 63 along the lakefront, 67 Midway. Your next news update is at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Autumn Leaves Memory Care Communities, now open in Glen Ellen. Take a virtual tour at autumnleaves.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
New Iowa poll results put Senator Bernie Sanders within 7 points of a once comfortable Democratic frontrunner, Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump's big splash in Iowa seems to be paying off. He remains perched in double digits at the top of a crowded field. But neurosurgeon and Washington outsider Dr. Ben Carson comes in second place. And if you consider the margin of error, they are virtually tied.
With Hillary Clinton, it just seems to be one scandal after another. I don't want it to be about me. This is about common sense. It's about doing the right thing.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
This rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter?
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So that Jake Arrieta no-hitter yesterday, congratulations to Jake Arrieta. It's second no-hitter for the Cubs since like 73, right? Zambrano had one in 2008, and then before that you have to go back 40 years plus.
Yeah, it's the sixth no-hitter of the season, though.
Yeah.
I mean, not for him, but for all the baseball teams.
And, I mean, the Dodgers. I mean, this is the second time they got no-hit this month, which hasn't happened in 45 years. So, I don't know, the Dodgers are playing cricket up there or something. But Mike Scott just drew my attention to this post no-hitter, and this was tweeted out by Jesse Rogers, ESPN Radio. Post no-hitter, they posed for a team photo, but they're all in their pajamas.
Yeah, and Superman pajama themes. There's
lot of
a
footies.
Minion there. A lot of footies and hoodies. Yeah, what is this?
I guess it's when in L.A.
That's
I guess so. I can think it's just kind of fit into the milieu out there.
Who's wearing the Santa Claus one? Wow, that reveals a lot.
Yeah,
there.
Your pajamas, I suppose, tell you a lot about your personality. So
there's Batman pajamas and Superman pajamas and Minions and okay,
yeah, good stuff. So onto this story, a little campus watch update and an academic watch update. And why do we spend so much time talking about what's going on in higher education? Because it's important. Because the 1/3 of kids that go on to higher education at exorbitant cost tend to be our thought leaders across sector, our great thinkers and writers and artists and corporate titans. Now, not all. There are exceptions, of course. Eric Hoffer, the great philosopher, was a longshoreman who was self-taught. Peter Thiel, the great entrepreneur, venture capitalist, early investor in Facebook, PayPal. He didn't finish college. Obviously, Gates. I mean, so you don't have to go to college to contribute and change the world. But
Ron Majors.
Ron Majors, what?
He never went to college.
Never
finished college.
That's a bad example. We're talking about good examples of people contributed a lot despite not going to college or not finishing college. But it's important because you do have people that are influential that tend to have an undergraduate degree or more, and so there's this. Professors, actually, let me start with this. Science, because we love to.
Whoa! You told me there'd be no science or math today.
Right, we love to kneel at the altar of science, and substitute that for our own judgment. No, I'm not dismissing science. Of course, we go through the scientific method. There are discoveries. There's a deeper understanding of the world and the human condition. Great, but then there's this. Many psychological findings not as strong as claimed. There's a project at Stanford University called the Reproducibility Project. I know you've been following this.
Yes, I have.
And it notes the past several years have been tough for the credibility of social sciences. A psychologist was caught fabricating data, leading to more than 50 retracted papers. Top Journal published a study supporting the existence of ESP that was widely criticized. The journal Science pulled a political science paper on the effect of gay canvassers on voters' behavior because of concerns about faked data. We know about the dubious climate change-related science, quote unquote. Now, a years-long effort to reproduce 100 studies published in 3 leading psychological journals has found that more than half of the findings did not hold up when retested. More than 60 of the studies did not hold up. For example, one was on free will. It found that participants who read a passage arguing that their behavior is predetermined were more likely than those who had not read the passage to cheat on a subsequent test. It's fate, right? I'm just cosmic putty in the hands of fate. Well, it turns out that didn't hold up. Another example about mate preference. Women were more likely to rate the attractiveness of single men highly when the women were highly fertile compared when they were less so. In the reproduce studies, researchers found weaker effects on that attractiveness.
When we're highly fertile?
Well, right. Yes.
Okay.
So that was a supposition that there was apparently a correlation, and then upon retesting, not so much. So it just goes back to, kind of the science. And if there's a study, it should go unchallenged. If there's a scientist who says something, they should go unchallenged. They've got credentials. They're part of an institution of higher learning. So we should accept that like it has been delivered from on high.
And no one questions authority.
And this points out that you should question it. And frankly, the scientific community usually does a good job of peer review. And this is an example of the scientific community policing itself. That's great, but not before a lot of misinformation has been put out into the public sphere. And it's always more difficult to get the corrected information out than it is for to kind of unring the bell of all the false information that was spread. Look at the science around climate change as a prime example of that.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. I'm still undecided. I still do not know who to believe when it comes to climate change. Who's telling the truth and who's exaggerating facts?
Well, I'll tell you. Here's
now, President Obama's on his way to Alaska this morning to address, some Eskimo tribes and some people that they say that they've had to move because of climate change.
Here's an extreme example of science. Think about racial segregation. Think about the era of slavery. The VP, Jefferson Davis's VP in the old Confederacy before the Civil War, suggested actually that the founders did believe that slaves should be free. They did not believe in slavery. They did believe that, generally speaking about the founders as a group, they did believe that black and white were equal. But the VP of the Confederacy suggested that now science, this was at the time, science has proved that blacks are intellectually inferior to whites, and thus the need for the subjugation of blacks. It was a scientific argument, not a religious one, not a manifest destiny one. It was a scientific argument. Obviously, that's false, but, you do something under the rubric of science, and people have a tendency to accept it rather than to challenge it. Especially in modern times, people are very happy to challenge religious thought. They're very happy to challenge economic thought. But they're not necessarily always so ready and willing to challenge science that tends to back up their biases. And this is an example where we should. Speaking of what's going on campus, there's this other story. Washington State University, multiple professors have explicitly told students their grades will suffer if they use terms such as, but not exhaustive.
Okay, I'm ready.
Illegal alien.
I agree with that. I hate that term.
Okay.
Well, they're undocumented or they're here illegally. I don't understand the alien thing, but go on.
Because they're here illegally.
You're right.
The male.
Male? Wait. Male?
Yeah.
You're a male. I'm a female. Oh, my God. Is that offensive now?
I don't see gender. It is. I'm offended.
Wait, how are you?
How dare you call me male? I'm so many more things than a male.
Okay.
You're so many more things than
caring male.
A female,
I put
allegedly.
Some superlatives in front of it. Is it okay then?
It's not enough.
So wait, what can I call you then?
Washington State, by the way, you know what their nickname is?
No.
The Cougars.
Rawr.
That's an offensive term.
Yeah, you know what? That is offensive.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to use it on Rush Street, that's one thing. But in the hallowed halls of academia, no. Also, if they fail to defer to non-white students, whatever that means.
What?
According to a syllabus from one professor, Selena Lester Breckis, for her Women in Pop Culture class, students risk a failing grade if they use any common descriptions that the professor considers, quote-unquote, oppressive and hateful language.
Wait, how is male, female oppressive and hateful language? What am I supposed to call you instead of male?
Can we get to a post-gender America, Amy? Do you have to drag us back? Do you have to be such a Neanderthal? Do you have to drag us back? Now the next thing you're going to say is men should be pulling women around by their hair.
Yeah, 312-642-5600. Who wants to see that again?
Yeah. Also,
but it's weird because I took a women in popular culture class at Iowa, and we didn't have these rules.
Yeah,
We had a right to free speech back then.
Professor Rebecca Fowler's Introduction to Comparative Ethnic Studies course.
Didn't take that one.
Didn't take it?
No.
Students' grades will suffer if they use the term illegal alien in their assigned writing.
Huh? Well,
yeah.
So you're not offended by illegal alien? I mean, I'm not offended by it, but I just think call them undocumented or they're here illegally.
No, I don't think grade suffering is enough. I think they should be taken to the quad and put in the stocks and have the campus gather around like Lord of the Flies with face paint on and ridicule them or otherwise pillory them in some material way.
Yeah, if I went to that school, if my son or daughter went to that school, I'd want my money back. Yank them out of that class immediately.
Ken in Lombard.
Yeah, hey, I can prove there is climate change if the president is right. If you look at the Sahara and the Sub-Sahara Desert, where we get our oil from, that used to be a tropical rainforest. When you look at the Great Lakes, those used to be glaciers that they're receded. When you look at the Illinois River Valley, you can see wide where the river was.
And there used to be dinosaurs roaming the earth. Thanks for the call, Ken. Fred in the North Side, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, if you want the opinion on climate change, you could take the oil company scientists. The reason they're starting to drill now is because, according to the oil company scientists, enough permafrost and enough ice has finally melted after all these decades to make it feasible to drill in the North Pole. So now you have the oil company.
Thanks for the call, Fred.
I took courses at Brookdale.
And dropped out.
Because you stopped going.
Because we were just killing time with those classes. One semester we took criminology. We training to be Batman.
What don't you get about it?
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I can't stop looking at pictures of the Cubs pajama party. It's fascinating.
Because you're looking to see if any flaps are open.
Well, it's fun for the ladies. And here's your forecast, which might not be too fun if you're on the roadways because there is thick fog out there. By this afternoon, hopefully it'll burn off. And we should have mostly sunny and warm conditions, a high of 85 degrees. Then tomorrow, mostly sunny, very hot and humid, a high near 90. Let's get the travel times and see how that accident is doing in Lockport. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Lockport, State Street is closed between 19th and Daggett due to a head-on crash there. North side of Chicago, firefighters still dealing some hot spots. There was an overnight multi-alarm blaze in Lincoln Square right near Lawrence and Western, affecting the 4800 block of North Lincoln. Yachtbound Kennedy is heavy with traffic headed to the airport. Right now it's 35 minutes from downtown to O'Hare, with delays on westbound 190 as well from the Kennedy to the terminal area. Inbound Kennedy, just 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Eden still pretty light. The Eisenhower, 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 35. A stall at Des Plaines Avenue just cleared. The Stevenson has a 5-minute delay central to Kedzie. The Ryan, about a 7-minute delay from the Stevenson into the loop. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Bad news. The fog is getting thicker.
And Leon's getting larger.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I have a very mild version of MS. I couldn't afford the medication from the doctor's office, and I thought, let's try to fight this a little different way. Since I've been on it, I've only had one episode.
So as soon as I got it, I took some. I normally take it in the morning, so just with that period of time, I'm definitely seeing improvement again. Really amazing. So I'm probably going to get my daughter on it.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Hey guys, if you're into fantasy football, you've got to check out FanDuel.com. At FanDuel, you play in 1-week fantasy football leagues for real money with immediate cash payouts. You only play when you want, and you can change your team any week. FanDuel is paying out over $75 million a week this season. Plus, right now, FanDuel is giving you a bonus of up to $200 that gets earned as you play. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Go to FanDuel.com and enter the promo code 4422. That's FanDuel.com, promo code 4422.
AM 560 The Answer wants you to know that we value your opinion and loyalty. That's why we're giving you the chance to win $5,000 just by answering a few simple questions about why you listen. Now, $5,000 could make one of your dreams come true. Take that vacation you've been dreaming about, pay off bills, throw a huge party, or put a down payment on a car. Just visit 560theanswer.com and click on the Dreams Come True banner for your chance to win.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about the latest example of mind-numbing political correctness on campus at Washington State, where terms like illegal alien, male, and female, if you use them in class, you are going to be subject to grade reduction, if not expulsion and a beating. Text from 847, if alien is such an offensive term, why does my father's green card read resident alien? That's a good question. The federal government.
So the federal government can use that, but not if you're taking a class at Washington State University.
Not at Washington State. When Washington State takes over the government, the academics there, then everybody's going to be in trouble. Colin Quinn, remember Colin Quinn, comedian?
Yeah. Where's he been lately?
He's right. Does stuff.
He's getting trumped because Trump's the real comedian now.
He does stand up. But do you remember him? Remember the show on MTV back when they did videos and good programming?
Oh, yes.
Remote Control.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Colin Quinn and Carrie Wurr?
Oh, wow. That's a blast.
Yeah, she was.
Easy on the eyes.
Remember who the host was? It's just more 80s trivia for you. I don't know where you were.
Downtown Julie Brown?
Too soon! No. Downtown Julie Brown. That was Club MTV. At the Palladium. That's where I learned to dance, imitating, all the kids at the Palladium.
God, if only I could see you break dance and dunk, then my life would be complete.
Ken Ober was the host.
Ken Ober, okay. You got me. I surrender.
I want you to brush up on your 80s trivia so we can have more fun talking about 80s trivia. But here's Colin Quinn with a rejoinder to Washington State and to kind of the PC culture more generally. Good stuff.
But if you even mention ethnicity, people feel a little bit, your stomach feels tense. If you even mention someone's ethnicity, everyone's like, wow. If I told you a true story, this Mexican guy came up to me, whoa. Why does this guy have to be Mexican in your true story? I don't understand. You know, you have to speak in the most idealized, pasteurized, homogenized, colorblind at all. You know, you feel, if you notice, you're like, this guy comes up to me, could have been Mexican, I don't know, I don't care. I shouldn't have been a Central American, Hispanic, Latino. It was a man, all right? Wait a minute. I was sexist. I don't know if it was a man. Could have been a woman, could have been LGBT, I don't know. I mean, it was a life form came up to me. You know what? Hold on. I'd like to start the story by apologizing for, obviously, I'm coming from a place of Western, entitled, unconscious, paternalistic fear of the other, and, you know, non-heteronormative, gender-specific. I'd like to start by saying that this apology has been a learning experience for me and a teachable moment, and I think I'm going to do some soul searching, and hopefully down the line I can start a nonprofit for other people that are telling stories, you know. And
so that should be the intro video to those courses on the campus of Washington State University.
So instead of you being a male, you're just another life form.
I'm a life form.
Yes, with different parts. Okay.
At best. We don't talk about the parts. Speaking of talking about the parts, boy, you couldn't see this coming. Ashley Madison, CEO, steps down in the wake of the hack. And,
yeah. Well, wasn't he wasn't he a user of his own product that he was selling?
He liked the product so much, he bought the company.
No, but he was married and he was having...
I'm not just the president. I'm also a client, Cy Sperling. I got more where that came from. So after weeks of scandal capped by the release of flirty emails showing CEO Noel Bitterman lied about cheating on his wife, the troubled site for adulterers said Friday its chief was out the door. Biderman had touted himself as the king of infidelity. That's something to be proud
There
of.
you go, honey, I'm home.
It's a flag to wave around. So that's a problem. And they're still looking for the hackers. $500,000 reward.
Yeah, that's right.
Canadian. $378,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the hackers. Iowa Hawk tweeted that now Bitterman is going to be selected to head up the Office of Personnel Management in the federal government. Would not be surprising.
So he was the CEO, and he was married, and his wife didn't think that there might be something nefarious, something wrong going on.
Hey, it's just business, honey.
Hey, I got a gig for you.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Nearly 40 million Americans are suffering with hearing loss. And right now, we're on a mission to help as many of you as possible start hearing everything more clearly again. We're giving away risk-free trials of our advanced life-changing hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear. We'll even give you free shipping and free batteries for life. But these risk-free supplies are extremely limited, so please call now. 1-800-400-5784. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers to adjust to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. If you're one of the millions suffering with hearing loss, let us give you a 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-400-5784. That's 1-800-400-5784. 1-800-400-5784.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com has pulled the trigger to bring you classes for Illinois gun owners. Take advantage of a new Illinois concealed carry class from Safer USA. Dave Lombardo is the class instructor. He's offering his concealed carry 16-hour seminar for only $150. It normally retails at $300. It covers everything you need to know to protect you and your family with a concealed carry firearm for personal protection or against a home invasion. Dave's a pro and also the host of the show On Target Radio. Get in a little range time as well with a 1-year range membership from the Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Winthrop Harbor. This is the premier gun range in Northeast Illinois, and a 1-year membership, only $149. That's a $350 value. Your Range membership includes great discounts on products and services at the Outdoorsman Sports Shop. Find out all the details at chicagoradiodeals.com. Also featuring great deals on many other lifestyle training classes. Find it all at chicagoradiodeals.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're joined by our friend Bill Crystal from the Weekly Standard, and he will answer the question, can Hillary bluff Biden out of the race at 6:36?
And here we go. One woman coming forward saying women are raped because of what they're wearing. We'll explain. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Very heavy and dense fog this morning. We have 60 degrees. Dozens of Chicago firefighters remaining on the scene of an early morning blaze that has rekindled on the northwest side. The extra alarm fire began after 1 a.m. at the Lincoln Square Lanes in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue. Fire department issued a Mayday call at that time for a firefighter that could not be located. That firefighter was later found uninjured. Hardware store was located on the first floor of the building along with the bowling alley. The 98-year-old fixture appears to be totally destroyed. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta tossing the 6th no-hitter of the baseball season, keeping the Dodgers hitless in the 2-0 Sunday night win in L.A.
Finish was good. Breaking balls were sharp. Didn't throw a lot of changeups. And going into the game, that's something that I wanted to do a little bit more, but I felt like the life of my fastball was really good tonight. And, I was able to get some good movement with it early in the game to where they weren't able to square it up.
Chicago avoiding a 3-game sweep and snapping a 4-game losing skid with that win. Much of South and Central Florida this morning under a flood watch as remnants of Tropical Storm Erica hit the region. Reporter Wendy Grossman is on the scene.
We have not had a hurricane in Florida in the past 10 years. So people do expect that when they say this one's coming to you, that it is going to come to you because they're worried their good luck will run out. As much as people did prepare for this and they did run out to the stores, there was a run on batteries, water, and bread.
Reporter Grossman says many cities like Miami had to prepare as best as they could for possible flooding. A man accused of shooting and killing a Texas sheriff's deputy will be in court today on charges of capital murder. Shannon Miles, according to police, gunned down Deputy Darren Goforth Friday at a Houston gas station. Police in Arizona are investigating after a 22-year-old mother confessed to drowning her twin boys in a bathtub Sunday. Mireya Lopez reportedly told police she intentionally killed both of her 2-year-old boys and would have drowned a third victim if she had not been stopped. Yankees and Braves players are still reeling after a fan fell to his death during a weekend series in Atlanta. 60-year-old Greg Murray died after falling from the upper deck at Turner Field during Saturday's game. The team held a moment of silence yesterday before the game to pay tribute to the longtime Braves fan. The search continues this morning for a man suspected in a brutal attack and sexual assault of a woman in Willowbrook. A sketch of that man was released yesterday. The victim remains hospitalized in intensive care while police say they may have found the suspect's car in nearby Brookfield. White Sox over Seattle in 11, 6-5. WNBA, Connecticut beat the shorthanded Sky, 72-68. The news, a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. She didn't just visit the sick and poor, she moved in because they needed help. Mother Teresa couldn't do it all, but she gave her all. Compassion, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager doesn't agree with the everyone gets a trophy culture.
This is another example of the cultural left coming up with a moronic idea because they believe in change. And, of course, self-esteem and feelings. How much would you be willing to bet that the overwhelming majority of parents who support giving every kid a medal or trophy are Democrats, and the overwhelming majority of those who oppose it are Republicans?
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. I'm holding a book that will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at 80, you need to read this free book. It includes the strategy I use to make a 72% profit on a trade where the stock only moved 12%. you'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-550-9335. Skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-550-9335. 1-800-550-9335.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
It's Feldco's biggest sale. All windows, siding, and doors installed for free. That's right. All windows installed for free. All doors installed for free. All siding installed for free. Buy now and pay later with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 1 year. It's Feldco's biggest sale. Hurry, Feldco's free installation ends Labor Day. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Football season is finally here, and the NIU Huskies will celebrate the 50th anniversary of Husky Stadium. You can watch the defending MAC champions in the season opener versus UNLV on Saturday, September 5th at 6:30 p.m. Season tickets are available by calling 815-753-PACK or by visiting NIUHuskies.com. Catch all the action right here on your home for NIU football, AM 560, The Answer.
It is 6:37. Let's get an update on the roads at our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Edens inbound, it's 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy, 26 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. Delays on westbound 190 heading to the airport. There are some flight delays due to the
I have decided
Eisenhower,
in 2020 to run for president.
51 after a stall at Des Plaines Avenue. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57, Bishop Ford, both about 17 minutes, I-80 to the Verge. Traffic service of UPSjobs.com. UPS is seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and an attractive benefits package up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at upsjobs.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Let's get the very latest on a foggy morning outside, and that heavy, dense fog will be with us for some time. We'll warm up to 85 as summer returns for at least a week. 68 overnight, 89 tomorrow, 91 on Wednesday. Heavy fog across much of the western suburbs. Light fog at O'Hare and Midway. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continuing next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so over the weekend there was a major presidential announcement for the Democrat Party, and here it was.
I have decided in 2020 to run for president.
That's Kanye West at the VMAs.
He was receiving an award last night, a kind of a Lifetime Achievement Award, and at the end, that's what he said. I've decided, and everyone's holding their breath.
Great.
To run for president.
Democrats conceding the 2016 election, focusing already on 2020 and gathering steam behind their nominee, which would be a fitting nominee for the Democrat Party in its current incarnation, Kanye West. But for more sober reviews of the presidential campaign at present, we're now joined by our friend Bill Kristol, editor of the Weekly Standard, weeklystandard.com. Bill, thanks for joining us again.
Good to be with you. I hope Mr. West is correct and that the Republicans win in 2017, and then he's the nominee against the Republican incumbent in 2020. That would be okay with me.
No, it would be. It would be fantastic. Now, you wrote a piece in your magazine there, Weekly Standard, suggesting that there is a path for Biden, but you're kind of openly wondering whether Hillary can bluff, threaten, intimidate, cajole, extort Biden out of the race. So answer your own question. What do you think?
Biden wants to run clearly. He's been doing a lot over the last month to lay the groundwork. At the Democratic National Committee meeting in Minneapolis late last week, there was a sudden spate of stories, that they're all for Hillary. There's not really room for Biden. That struck me as a pretty desperate, though, well-organized attempt by the Clinton forces to bluff Biden out of running. I don't think the Democratic Committee members matter much, and I don't know that that's really an accurate reflection of their sentiments anyway. He has to have the nerve to, you don't know, this is one of these things where you don't know really how strong you are until you get in. And he has to have the nerve to do it. She's clearly weak. I mean, you look at that Iowa poll that came out Saturday. She's at 37, Sanders at 30. I think Biden is 14, but not running yet. For her to be down at 37, she was at 60 3 months ago, shows how much erosion there's been in her strength. So it'll be interesting to see if the vice president chooses to go. I think he will. I think he'll do it within the month. And then the question is, will he take off? If he does, he gets a three-way race, Biden, Clinton, Sanders. If he doesn't quite take off, I wonder whether Elizabeth Warren looks at those three and thinks, really? I mean, is that the best we're going to do? She's the one the party really wants, And you could even have a four-way race at that point. So it'll be a great irony. The Democratic race, which was supposed to be a coronation, boring, no action on the Democratic side, could be pretty lively by October.
Well, why is Elizabeth Warren so standoffish to the idea of being president, running for president, or running for VP?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's a little. She may have her own just personal views of that she's not quite up to the presidency. Or I talked to someone who's talked to her and said, well, she really thinks she can do more good in the Senate, which is just ludicrous. So, and with all due respect to being a senator, you just don't have the impact you have as president. She believes in what she believes in, a kind of left-wing populist economic message. I think she could tell herself, honestly, that that's not Hillary Clinton's message. It's not really Biden's message. And he has, running as a VP, he'll have the entire Obama sort of 8 years to drag around. Hillary has her baggage. Biden has the Obama 8 years of baggage. Sanders is a socialist from Vermont who's 73 years old and isn't going to win. So why shouldn't she run? Really not just for her own glory, but because I think if she believes in what she believes in, she's got to think she's the best person carry that message forward. I personally think she'd be the toughest Democrat to run against, actually.
Yeah, I agree with that. But going back to the assumption that she doesn't run and Biden does, or maybe they put together this Biden-Warren ticket, that seems to me a little bit of Democrat fantasy league. But let's say that Biden does run. As a political strategist, messaging guy, what space does Biden occupy? Is he just, I'm the guy in the emergency glass if Hillary Clinton gets taken away in cuffs? Or, since they're both kind of creatures of the establishment, he's been in D.C. for 40 years. What is Biden's value proposition as a candidate to the base of the Democrat Party?
That's a good way of putting the question. And I think it's why he might have a limit on his upside. I think he runs to see Obama's third term. There are a lot of Obama loyalists in the party. They've got to be suspicious of Hillary Clinton. She ran against, obviously, Barack Obama in 2008. She's, was a loyal Secretary of State, but still she's clearly comes from a different part of the party and will have her own loyalties. And Sanders is a socialist. So Biden says, look, if you like the Obama progressive agenda, you don't want that Clinton baggage or return of the Clintons, I'll carry forth Barack Obama's legacy. And, if Obama thinks that and puts his arm around Biden, figuratively or literally, and says, I have highest regard for Joe, and I'm not going to endorse anyone necessarily, but I've got to say that he's done a heck of a job as vice president, and he's been involved in all these great decisions I've made. I don't think they're great decisions, but presumably a fair number of Democrats do. So I think he runs as Obama's heir.
So in 2008, Hillary Clinton had a large support from the African-American community. Then President Obama jumped in, changed that. Do you think Joe Biden, if he does decide to run, will get the majority of the African-American vote?
That is another very good question. And I'd say the Clinton people, when they talk to you, say, well, that's their firewall. They acknowledge that Bernie Sanders or Biden, or both, could beat Hillary Clinton in Iowa and or New Hampshire. Right now, the polls show Sanders close in Iowa and I think a little bit ahead in New Hampshire. But when they go south, the African-American percentage of the Democratic primary election goes up radically, 35, 40% in some of those states, and also in the Midwest, like Illinois, and so not quite that high, but pretty high. And, they'll be for Hillary. I guess the question is, why will they be necessarily for Hillary? They very much supported Bill Clinton as president. I think they have an affectionate view of Hillary Clinton. But if Barack Obama has, as I said before, his arm figuratively or literally around Joe Biden, if other prominent African Americans, don't know close to President Obama, support Joe Biden, I don't think it's out of the question that vote splits more evenly. Biden's has identical views of Hillary Clinton on various issues of concern to that community. So, yeah, that would be the big question. How real is Hillary Clinton's firewall with minority voters?
Now, on the other side, the Republicans are not without problems themselves. Ross Douthat writes in the New York Times over the weekend that, look, if the Republican Party, when Trump ultimately fades, assuming that happens, but let's assume that for the sake of argument, when Trump ultimately fades, if the Republican Party's response is just to dismiss Trump as a flash in the pan and not kind of adopt a posture that addresses the sensibility that Trump is capitalizing on right now, the frustration and exasperation, the feeling the game is rigged against people who play by the rules. If they don't do that, then not only do Republicans have the prospect of losing in 2016, they have the prospect of disappearing as an organized party. What do you say to that?
I mean, I agree with Ross's piece. I don't know about disappearing, but certainly losing. We have a very similar, actually, pieces in the Weekly Standard that came out at the end of the week. Great minds working alike.
Yes.
Julius Krein has a piece of this, which we gave the same title to, that I guess the New York Times gave to Ross's column, A Traitor to His Class, which we meant as praise for Trump, in the sense that he's willing to take on, wealthy hedge fund guys and all that, which most Republicans shy away from. Chris Caldwell went out to Iowa and covered Trump. And both Caldwell and Krein argue in the Weekly Standard, as Ross Douthat does in the Times, that Trumpism is important. I have an editorial making this case, too. I don't think Trump's the right person to be the nominee. Trumpism is limited as a kind of populist rebellion against the establishment. I wouldn't take it up, take all of it up. It's not all of its policies are sound. But the sentiment that the political class is out of touch, that the Republican Party is out of touch, that America, we need someone to fight for America, not as the liberals will fight for the international community, or as some conservative elites, Republican elites who want to fight for free markets or all these other principles, which are fine and are really fine. We need to defend them. But really fight for the kind of real existing America and the real existing American middle class. That's kind of what Trump has conveyed. And I'm a little astonished that the other Republican candidates have been so slow or so clumsy to pick up on his message. That gets me a little worried, actually, about the other candidates.
Wow. But don't you think Donald Trump needs to bash someone in order to make the news so he doesn't have to pay for campaign ads? I mean, the marketing of this guy is brilliant.
Fantastic. And I love the Washington, D.C. political consultants who were saying 2 months ago, well, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He's never run a campaign. He'll collapse right away. As if the guy hasn't thought a lot about marketing, PR, and so forth, running all the businesses he's run, which are very dependent, when you think about it, on consumers, on people coming to his casino or his hotels. They're very much, they're not their businesses where they could go somewhere else, right? So a lot of it is the glitz, the marketing, the message, the kind of impression you get of why Trump is the Trump Hotel is a cool place to be. Well, in a way, he's marketing himself, the way he markets his casinos and hotels. You've got to think ultimately it fades. Ultimately, there's not enough substance. So I've been saying it would fade for 4, 5, 6 weeks, and I've been wrong so far. And maybe as long as no one else steps up, it won't fade, because people really are open to parts of his message. And certainly for now, they like the jolt he's giving to the establishment and to conventional wisdom, and not just the Republican establishment, but also the conservative elite who have become a little out of touch. Now, it's one thing to like a guy for causing a ruckus in August or September. It's another thing to vote for him in February or March or April, and I think that's obviously the big question.
We're talking to Bill Kristol, Weekly Standard. Before we let you jump, so what about other outside the Beltway candidates, outside political office candidates, Fiorina and Carson, who are creating a bit of a jolt, but without the ruckus? Do you think either one of them has staying power?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, Carson is now second in Iowa. Fiorina did a terrific job in that first debate and on the kind of undercard debate. The Republican National Committee, speaking about being out of touch, and CNN are just agreeing on rules they invented 2 months ago, which is silly, which weigh old polls, old surveys as much as new ones, to keep her out of the second debate. I think if they keep her out of the debate on September 16th, there'll be a genuine outcry, and I will be part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, she obviously deserves to be on the main stage, and she is now polling in the top 10, but because they agreed to some stupid rules 2 months ago, they're keeping her out. These aren't rules that are written down in some, that have been like baseball rules that have been on the books for 100 years. This is just some artificial thing they thought of. And the idea that they can't be flexible enough to let Carly Fiorina into the big debate is ridiculous.
Right. Who would have thought a field of 17 candidates could be fluid? Yeah. Bill Kristol, editor of Weekly Standard, weeklystandard.com. Bill, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
In case you haven't noticed, we're part of a fog bowl this morning. It's going to be thick and dense later on by this afternoon, and hopefully it'll burn off. We should have mostly sunny and warm conditions, a high of 85 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low of 68 degrees. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, hot and humid. Yes, summer has arrived again, a high near 90. Let's get the travel times. I'm sure the weather is affecting the roadways. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Yeah, trying to get from here to there. Well, looks kind of like the Bears passing game. Thinking of a fog bowl right now. It's very slow now on the inbound Eisenhower. Got a crash at 17th left lane block. 45 minutes and rising from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 51 minutes after an earlier stall at Des Plaines Avenue. It's slow on the outbound Kennedy going to O'Hare. 53 minutes from downtown to the airport. Add some delays on westbound 190 as well. Eden's 25 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Stevenson 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 42. Ryan 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State very slow from Harlem to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway a little slow from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee. Reagan Tollway heavy. The Fox River Bridge to 59. Lincoln Square Lawrence remains blocked near Western. The multi-alarm blaze with hot spots still flaring. 4800 block of North Lincoln. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Val Dior in for Lou Dobbs. Investors bracing for what could be another choppy trading session on Wall Street. Corporate developments and economic reports in focus. Those stories next.
Hey, this is Michael Medved. As a listener to the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, you may also own a business. Now, at some point, you may need funding. I recommend researching businessloansnow.com in the non-bank private equity sector because Business Loans Now focuses mostly on monthly cash flow and not on personal credit. If you need funding now for payroll, equipment, expansion, added cash flow, or for a new startup, you can check to see how much your business may qualify for at businessloansnow.com. That's businessloansnow.com.
Ancestry is releasing an entirely new category of content, never before available online in the U.S., exclusive to Ancestry. It's an unprecedented collection of U.S. wills and probate records that span 200 years. And starting this Wednesday, we're allowing the public free, unlimited access. Visit tryancestry.com and discover a deeper level of who your ancestors were. Plus, our popular birth, marriage, and death records will also be open to search for free, too. Visit tryancestry.com. That's TRY Ancestry.com.
Investors preparing for what could be another turbulent week of trading on Wall Street. U.S. stock indexes ended higher last week, staging a big comeback after the Dow's worst intraday drop on record. Action in overseas markets could influence direction on Wall Street. Reports on U.S. manufacturing and industrial production in Japan of interest to investors as well. The crude market in focus after prices posted the biggest weekly jump in more than 6 years. October crude begins this week north of $45 a barrel. We're likely to see an uptick in trading of Phillips 66, Berkshire Hathaway now with a nearly 11% stake in the energy company. And we'll see what investors think of a report claiming that the next generation of Apple TV may have a price point as high as $200 a unit. Please tune in to Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Fox Business Network. I'm Val Dior for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
You know what I love about summer? Baseball. You know what I love about baseball? It's a game of probability. You know what I love about my team? Not much, because baseball is a game of probability. The odds of our starting pitcher lasting 3 innings? Slim. The likelihood we'll be mathematically eliminated before July? High. Okay, so maybe I'm not a fan of the probability of my team going above 500. But I am a fan of the fact that with some planning and a little help, I was able to influence the probability that I could retire and stay retired. Maybe our pitcher should consider retirement. Just saying.
Ready to make the game-changing decision to put a plan in place for your retirement? The Mutual Fund Store can help you do just that. Connect with us today for a free review of your investment portfolio or a second opinion on your investments. The person you'll be having a cup of coffee with is right here.
Hi, I'm Steve Jack with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 4.
Worn-out tires can cost you a lot more than new tires.
It's true. In the long run, badly worn tires put stress on suspension parts,
which can lead to real expensive repairs.
Worn tires have poor traction.
That's why so many families are riding on Merlin 200,000-mile warranty tires.
What's your family riding on?
Stop in at your local Merlin 200,000-mile shop for details and a free tire inspection today.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
If you've been making trails all summer, now's the time to get ready for fall. Follow the trail to your local Merlin shop for a free tire inspection. And right now, you can get up to a $70 rebate on a set of Ford General tires during the Making Trails promotion. Go to merlins.com for locations, coupons, and to make an appointment.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. That's exactly why you need to call Saul Z and the Z team at Keller Williams, based right here in Chicagoland. Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. Recently, the Wall Street Journal ranked Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agreed to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Don't worry, you won't. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
AST for Industry. This is John Haidt. My company is Anti-Seize Technology. We are the company behind hundreds of products used by industry and manufacturing worldwide. For over 35 years, my local company has made lubricants, adhesives, and sealants. I put my products up against any other company for quality and value. That's why we say AST for Industry.
Your maintenance crew can save time, money, and your equipment. Slick-On Flow Lube is a superior spray-on industrial lubrication for your sliding, rolling, squeaky, turning, press-fitting needs. Slick-On Flow Lube keeps your equipment in service and reduces costly breakdowns. Slick-On Flow Lube is a great product for your maintenance team from Anti-Seize Technology.
We will prove products from Anti-Seize Technology are better for your industry. Contact us for a demonstration. Go to AST4Industry.com. Remember, AST4Industry.com. Check out our line of lubricants, adhesives, and sealants for your company. AST4Industry.com.
Join Dan Proft, hey, that's me, for the 35th Annual Northwest Suburban Republican Family Picnic on Sunday, September 13th at the Bussey Woods Forest Preserve in Elk Grove Village. Tickets are just $15 per family if you order ahead of time at GOPpicnic.com. Ticket price includes food for the whole family, entrance into the petting zoo, pony rides, bounce house, face painting, and more. I'm definitely doing all that.
Do I have to pay too?
No, you can be part of my extended family, my radio family. So you can too, Mike and Dave and Caesar. One big family. Visit GOPpicnic.com for all the details.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, how the Black Lives Matters movement may have motivated a cop killing in Houston. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dad, we're looking outside our windows. Heavy fog throughout much of the area this morning. It's impacting your morning commute. Jim Talamonte will be along in just a little bit to update you on your travel times and the commute problems. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta tosses a no-no. Police are searching for a suspect in a brutal Willowbrook attack. Complete look at your weather forecast after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He's going to take his climate change message to the last frontier. President Obama heads to Alaska today.
The northernmost reaches of Alaska are losing slightly more than a football field's worth of land a day to coastal erosion and sea level rise.
That's White House Senior Advisor Brian Deese. Ahead of the trip, the administration's also changing the name of Mount McKinley, which is the highest in North America, to Denali,
what Alaska's natives call it. But that has upset some lawmakers from Ohio, home to President McKinley, who the mountain was named for. The president finds another senator to support the Iran nuclear deal, but other fellow Democrats remain uncertain. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Oregon Democrat Jeff Merkley is the 31st senator to back the controversial agreement. Congress could vote as soon as this week, as September shapes up to be a make-or-break month for the deal. The president is working diligently to get enough votes to sustain a veto amid strong opposition from the Republican-controlled House and Senate. Over the weekend, the Democrat National Committee failed to pass a resolution of support for the Iran deal. Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz blocked the resolution from consideration at the group's summer meeting, as first reported by the Washington Post. Dave.
Rachel, was a sheriff's deputy killed just because he's law enforcement?
This has got to cease. It's not about color. It's about a human being.
She was part of a prayer walk in Harris County, Texas, after Darren Goforth was shot over and over again while he was pumping gas Friday. The accused gunman, Shannon Miles, will be arraigned today. There's a new hurricane in the Atlantic, Fred. Way too far out to know if it'll threaten the U.S. What's remaining of Erica will remain on Florida, while Hurricane Ignacio will pass by Hawaii, not posing much of a threat. Would you vote for Kanye West?
I have decided in 2020 to run for president.
West also won a couple of MTV Video Music Awards. Taylor Swift won the most, 4, including Video of the Year. And Miley Cyrus was controversial again, showing off a little too much skin, a clip MTV will remove when replaying the show. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Clouds and sunshine along the lakefront, but the further west you go, heavy fog, hard for even headlights to pierce the gray this morning. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Dozens of Chicago firefighters were on the scene of a 311 blaze on the northwest side this early morning. It began around 1 a.m. at the Lincoln Square Lanes in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue. One time, the fire department issued a mayday call at around 1 a.m. after a firefighter could not be located. That firefighter was later found. Firefighters continue a mop-up operation there at the 98-year-old bowling alley, which appears to be totally destroyed. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta tosses the 6th no-hitter of the season, striking out 12 in a 2-0 win over the L.A. Dodgers.
Finish was good. Breaking balls were sharp. Didn't throw a lot of changeups. And going into the game, that's something that I wanted to do a little bit more, but I felt like the life of my fastball was really good tonight. And, I was able to get some good movement with it early in the game to where they weren't able to square it up.
Chicago avoiding a 3-game sweep, snapping a 4-game losing skid in the process. An inmate in Northwest Indiana is back in custody after she escaped while on furlough to give birth to a baby. LaPorte County sheriffs say Natasha Peters was arrested yesterday afternoon in Michigan City. She gave birth to her child last week after being transported to the hospital from the LaPorte County Jail. Search continues for a man suspected in the brutal attack and sexual assault of a woman in Willowbrook. Police released a sketch of the man yesterday. They say forced his way into the woman's home and then before beating and stabbing her multiple times and then sexually assaulting her. The victim remains hospitalized in intensive care. Police believe they may have found the suspect's vehicle in nearby Brookfield. White Sox over Seattle 6-5 in 11 innings. Rookie Tyler Saladino continued his good late August, driving in the winning run with a single in the 11th. WNBA, Connecticut beat the Sky, and the Bears have released veteran cornerback Tim Jennings. The news service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call their 24-hour victim helpline, 877-MAD-HELP or mad.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity thinks Hillary Clinton has more to worry about than her campaign.
If they find those lost 33,000 emails, the one she's deleted, you're going to not only find classified information, the whole Benghazi issue is going to be brought to an entire new level. And instead of worrying about being elected president, her biggest fear is going to be how much time she may have to spend in jail.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Where do more than 2 million people go each day to do their best work? They go to Regis. Regis has beautifully designed tech-powered offices and co-working spaces with full admin support. Let Regis manage the details for you so you can focus on your business. Call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES to get up and running fast, without the hassle. Join the 2 million people who have found a better way to work. And right now, get a free officer meeting room for a day when you call 1-800-OFFICES. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Contour Next. Accuracy you can trust.
7:06. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. And that fog is still heavy in some places. Visibilities are around 1/8 of a mile. There are some flight delays at O'Hare this morning. North side of Chicago, there's still closures in Lincoln Square due to that multi-alarm blaze. Lincoln Square lanes, crews still battling the hot spots. Eden's Expressway is 26 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 30. The Kennedy, 32 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 56. Westbound 190 still a bit heavy as well. Inbound Eisenhower, crash at 17th. 2 left lanes are now blocked. 49 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 51. Stevenson, 48 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42. Ryan is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, jammed from 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway delays, 25 to 59, and from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee, Reagan Tollway slow, from Fox River to 59. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Let's get the very latest on the morning fog with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Areas of morning fog, otherwise mostly sunny today, high 85. Clear night, low 68. Mostly sunny and humid tomorrow with a high 89. And a mainly clear and humid night tomorrow night with a low of 70. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
63 at O'Hare and along the lakefront. It's 67 at Midway. Next news coming up at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Crease Hockey Radio with Kenny McCudden. Heard Sunday evenings at 11 and brought to you by Garden Fresh Market.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
New Iowa poll results.
He's already put down the officer
7 points
and
of
keep shooting on 569.
Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump's big splash in Iowa seems to be paying off. He remains perched in double digits at the top of a crowded field. But neurosurgeon and Washington outsider Dr. Ben Carson comes in second place. And if you consider the margin of error, they are virtually tied.
With Hillary Clinton, it just seems to be one scandal after another.
I don't want it to be about me. This is about common sense. It's about doing the right thing.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
This rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter?
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, Amy, obviously one of the big stories today was that no-hitter that Jake Arrieta threw last night, first for the Cubs since Zambrano 7 years ago. I was actually at Wrigley Field while they were in L.A. on Saturday night for the Foo Fighters concert.
How was it?
It was great. Dave Grohl rocked. I mean, it was a great, great show, and it was fun to go to Wrigley Field and see professionals who are good at their job.
Will you stop
You don't often see that at Wrigley.
Don't be a hater.
Too soon.
Come on. Jake Arrieta broke their 4-game losing streak, and they were on a 6-game West Coast tour. That's why they were gone, so you could watch your little Foo Fighters there. Okay?
Yeah. And
on the way back,
Arrieta probably will be. Yeah, he's probably going to be the Cy Young Award winner. He's tracking.
Good. See, you're warming up to the Cubbies.
I respect performance. And then afterwards, they had this pajama party.
Oh, can we talk about it all morning now?
No.
Because I can't stop looking at photos online of this pajama party as a way to, bond and to, return home from their six-game stance on the West Coast, they decided to all wear onesies. And this is even before Jake pitched his no-hitter. And so they wore their ones. So Jake gets up on the podium, for the post-game press conference. Thank you. And wearing a onesie. First time in the history of baseball that they wore onesies.
Let's hope it's
fun.
the last. Also, over the weekend, we lost a couple of interesting minds. One, Oliver Sacks, the great neurologist. And then kind of on the other side of the spectrum, a little bit darker.
Just a tad bit darker, Dan.
But creative nonetheless. I liked a lot of his movies. Wes Craven, who I forgot until Mike Scott reported earlier that he was a Wheaton College grad.
How could you have forgotten that?
You
being from the mean streets of Wheaton.
So many accomplished Wheaton College grads. And then on an even more sober note than the loss of those two gentlemen, we had a Houston deputy sheriff who did not die from natural causes. A sheriff... Where's his name? Goforth, right. I had it in my mind, Goforth. That was the name of my freshman biology teacher at Bennett, Gary Goforth. Really? No relation, I presume. But here's what happened to Deputy Sheriff Goforth in Houston over the weekend.
As what we can tell indications now, as he was at the gas pump pumping his gas into his vehicle, a male suspect came up behind Deputy and shot the deputy multiple times. Deputy then fell to the ground. The suspect then continued over to him and shot the deputy again multiple times as he laid on the ground. EMS arrived on scene. Unfortunately, the deputy passed.
That was Harris County Sheriff spokesman Thomas Gilliland trying to explain what happened, and he was getting a little emotional, understandably so, talking about Darren Goforth, who is a 10-year veteran of the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
Married, children. His wife still hasn't come out and spoken, but she said that he was the most wonderful man. He was a disciplined man on the job, but he had a huge heart at home. And the person who did this, Shannon Miles, African-American, was just fixing for a fight. Was he possibly motivated by the Black Lives Matter movement? Is that why he killed a cop? But he intentionally killed this cop, this man, because he was wearing a uniform.
That's what seems to be the case. There doesn't seem to be any other plausible explanation. At this point, he's pumping gas, as the spokesman described, and apparently Mr. Miles came up and executed him, assassinated him, and continued to shoot him while he was on the ground. There was no interaction between the two. There was no altercation.
They had never known each other. It's not as if he arrested him previously. He didn't know him.
There's no known relationship at this juncture. Miles, whose criminal record includes convictions for resisting arrest and disorderly conduct with a firearm, will be arraigned today. So resisting arrest in his background, he obviously has had run-ins with law enforcement previously, so that could have informed his desire, apparently, to take out his antipathy towards law enforcement on Deputy Goforth. It's hard to know. We'll know more as this case proceeds.
Well, he'll be in court today, and we'll find out whether or not they'll try to implement the death penalty against him.
Well, we have a long way to go before we get there.
Well,
Harris County Sheriff Ron Hickman had this to say at the press conference.
I will echo also what the DA mentioned is some of the very dangerous national rhetoric that's out there today. Our system of justice absolutely requires law enforcement to be present to protect our community. So at any point when the rhetoric ramps up to the point where calculated, cold-blooded assassination of police officers happened, this rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter and take that to the bank? Thank you for your attendance.
He could not have said it better. I am so sick of the Black Lives Matter hashtag. I am so sick of the whole movement. All lives matter. Can we start that, Dan? Can we make posters? Can we take it to the streets?
Why don't you take it to your church first?
Yeah, that's true. It's still on the lectern at church, and I was so close yesterday to ripping it down and screaming out, all lives matter.
A one-woman protest at your church.
Do you think what would happen to me?
I don't know. I don't know how your pastor would feel about that, but it's a worthy discussion. And the kind of rhetoric that Ron Hickman, the Harris County Sheriff, is talking about was on display not more than 24 hours after the assassination of Deputy Sheriff Goforth at the Minnesota State Fair because the Democrats had congregated at the Minnesota State Fair. It's so bad, it's so extreme that even liberal Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton suggested it was inappropriate. And what he's suggesting is inappropriate is this chant from the Black Lives Matter agitators.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon.
Too bad they couldn't have gotten arrested for something. I mean, that is disgusting behavior and just a lack of respect for police officers.
Well, of course it is. And DeRay McKesson, one of the organizers of Black Lives Matter, who's celebrated by old media, by the liberal media. Remember with the Roanoke shooting of those two, the reporter and her cameraman last week, he initially tweeted that it was a white guy, so ready to capitalize on, anything that he can couch as dividing the races, as, indicia of institutional racism. Now, of course, he turned out to be wrong, never admitted he was wrong because he's an agitator and a demagogue. But this is the Black Lives Matter perspective. The only thing I will say is when they shout down to Bernie Sanders and rip him off stage, when they make a liberal like Mark Dayton feel uncomfortable, that's your Democrat base. So cry me a river, Hillary and Bernie and Joe and Governor Dayton. This is what you've begotten by your cynical, incessant identity politics.
312-642-5600 is our number. Who else is sick of the Black Lives Matter hashtag, and how can we get rid of it? I mean, is there any way,
there's no
or you
need
just
for,
let it play itself out?
There's no need. What concept? What do you mean? How can we get rid of it? There's no need for a concerted effort. These people, like they did over the weekend, they will do themselves in. Their credibility shrinks, their legitimacy shrinks with their conduct and their rhetoric and the lack of substance underscoring it. So let them.
It was a pretty big protest. Were they there because Hillary Clinton was there?
Yeah, they're there because the Democrats were at the Minnesota State Fair. So the point is that what do we say? We say it both directions. The cure for offensive speech, more speech. Mike in LaGrange Park. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey,
you know what? You guys are the first station that has mentioned that perpetrator that shot the officer in Houston was black. You wouldn't have known that if you listened to the other, the normal or regular news stations. And it seems like that's omitted purposely.
Yeah, they don't. Those other outlets don't see race unless the victim is black.
Well, exactly. Conversely, every time they mention Michael Brown, it's the whole scenario, the unarmed black teenager. Well, 18, you can get drafted. You're not really they don't have a draft anymore, but you go in the military, you're not really a teenager at 18.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Thank you.
Vin in Schaumburg.
Hey, when Trayvon Martin got shot, Barack Obama came out and said that if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. Did he come out and say this about the guy who shot the cop at the gas station?
No, he hasn't released anything yet. He might not say a word. We don't. Now would be a time for the Nobel Peace Prize winner to come forward and talk to the people in his own community.
Yes, that's what he does.
And tell them to stop it.
That's what he
does.
He's
too busy renaming mountains, I guess.
There you go. Thanks for the call, Vin. We'll see you atop of Denali. Yes. Kurt in Brookfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, morning. I've got 22 years in law enforcement. I've never seen lack of leadership support through us in this country. And the thing about us, we're still going to go out there every day and defend no matter what. But until our leaders start standing up and saying, hey, you know what, stop breaking the law, stop running from the police, and a lot less of these events will happen. Cops aren't out there trying to be bad. Bad things cause bad things to happen. You got to look at the problem, but it comes from the top. Until the leadership starts supporting law enforcement, my son wanted to go to law enforcement. I told him no, you're not doing it anymore because you're not going to get support from the leadership because the liberals don't care how many of us die.
Thanks for the call, Kurt. And, it is a dangerous thing. We've talked about this before. When you put society at odds with law enforcement, a very dangerous thing. Begets bad things, as Kurt was describing.
Creating an acrimonious relationship between the public and the police. And it's because of the stupid Black Lives Matter hashtag, I think.
Chuck in Delavan.
Chuck from Delavan. Real quick,
yes.
Amazon was quick to get rid of the Rebel battle flag just because that kid took a picture of it. I want to know why they didn't pull down the gay flag off their websites and the Black Panther flag. You could still buy them. And the Che Guevara flag also. So anyway, that's what my comment was about. I want to know where my white Al Sharpton is. I'm going to be racist. I'm not going to go down in the gutter with these people, but this is starting to get a little goofy.
Thanks for the call, Chuck. We don't need any more Al Sharptons, regardless of the color. Steve on the Northwest side.
Good morning. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I've only read this on a police-related blog site. But on Friday, the Democratic National Committee voted to support the Black Lives Movement and adopted a resolution doing the same. I just wanted to put that out there. You can check it out yourself.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it anywhere.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steve. And to that I say, of course they did.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Still foggy conditions this morning, creating some delays at O'Hare and some trouble on the roadways. Allow yourself extra time this morning as you head out. It will burn off, though, by this afternoon. Mostly sunny, warmer, a high of 85 degrees. Then tonight, clear, a low of 68. And tomorrow, mostly sunshine, warm, hot, and humid, a high near 90. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Palatine, eastbound Northwest Highway is closed just east of 53 at Consumers with crash. The Eden's 26 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. The Kennedy 33 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 55. The Eisenhower 54 minutes. Thorndale to downtown after a crash at 17th. Outbound it's 54 minutes. Stevenson, 48 minutes either way between 355 and Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State jammed 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refi your existing home, then you need to call David Hochberg, Vice President of Pearl Mortgage. Tammy, two-term Afghan war vet, 2 sons, credit score 498. Call to secure a VA loan. Tammy had no shot at purchasing a home at this time, so David introduced Tammy to his bankruptcy team at Debt Stoppers, who are helping her eliminate collections totaling $16,000. Then he introduced her to Margie at First Midwest Bank, who's helping her rebuild her credit with a CD loan. David will follow up with Tammy every 4 months over the next 2 years to ensure she's following his credit enhancement plan so he can help her secure a VA loan. If you've gone through economic challenges like Tammy and want to be put on the program so you can purchase or refi in the future, call David now at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email him at david@perldavid.com or visit his website, am560david.com. That website, am560david.com. David's helped thousands of AM560 listeners, and he'll help you. Call David now, 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com/licensing.
At LifeQuotes.com, you can compare the rates of 50 top-rated life insurance companies in seconds. A healthy 40-year-old male can now apply for $500,000 of high-quality term life insurance for less than $22 per month. A $1 million policy can cost as little as $33 per month. Females pay even less. The LifeQuotes.com price comparison service is online, private, and convenient. And if your health history is less than perfect, our rater can handle up to 35 common illnesses such as elevated cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and more. We make it easy to search the market in seconds, view the lowest possible rates, and apply online to the company of your choice. 300,000 people have saved money buying life insurance policies through LifeQuotes.com because they liked our direct style of doing business. Visit LifeQuotes.com today to see how much you could save.
With an increasing number of Illinois concealed carry instructors having their credentials revoked, don't leave your training to chance. Safer USA, Chicago's trusted name in firearm training, has trained almost 6,000 students to be responsible firearm owners. We're offering the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. Our program will actually prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection, a comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble, and even how to deal with home invasion. We provide the firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program. For more information, visit saferusa.com or call 877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safer USA, choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, do you play the lotto?
No, because I'm good at math. So I don't play the lotto, but so there's the story about whether or not lottery winners are getting paid. I mean, it's one thing when the state doesn't pay like social service providers because, a few people care about that, people with developmental disability getting services and the like. But now if they're not going to pay lottery winners, now we're going to get people's attention.
Well, being lucky enough to win the lotto in Illinois doesn't mean you're going to get the money. Let me introduce you to Danny Chastain. He was got a ticket to a new life, Dan, when he won $250,000 with a winning scratch-off. But more than a month later, his cool cash that he thought he was going to get is still on ice.
Bought the ticket. I should get the money when it's due to me. I shouldn't have to wait for some budget to be settled.
Now, Chastain, he lives in LaSalle County. He says he's a victim of the stalemate in Springfield. But this isn't the first time that this happened. I don't know if you remember back in May of 2013, 8 people who received checks from the state lottery. Yeah, the checks bounced, so they were not able to cash in on their winnings. This time, at least, they know that they're not going to get paid, and they're just hoping for a miracle.
No,
if the check would have been here, I wouldn't have had to do this.
Okay.
It's very unfair.
Oh, it's unfair.
Okay, so let's be the one media outlet that reports on this correctly. But the hysteria, there's no miracle required. And Zero Hedge, which is a blog I normally like, has misinformation on this too. They compare this, or they put this juxtaposed to Ronner's budget guru Donna Ardwin, who was making $30,000 a month.
That has nothing to do with this.
And they clarify, they suggest that she was terminated. She was not terminated. Her contract expired. It was always the case that she was going to go after this very short period. She actually stayed on longer because of the budget impasse. But here's a little bit of facts with respect to the lottery and checks going out. And this is from a friend of mine who's at lottery. So all winners will be paid in full as soon as the budget is passed. Currently valid claims under $25,000 can be paid at any time out of our check writing centers. Winners who owe the state money or who win over $25,000 may experience delays, but everybody's going to be paid. It's not an issue of not having the money or needing a miracle. It's an issue of if you've won over $25,000, you've got the lottery with an authorization issue in terms of no operating budget. So winners are going to get paid.
But
but it's a matter of time.
Yeah, that's the thing. They want to know when. I mean, that's his whole point of contention. I won the ticket. I won $250,000, and he hasn't gotten paid one dime yet.
Yes.
Which I understand because his earnings is more than $25,000, but they need to know.
This is the reality.
Right now they're spending money they don't have.
Yeah, well, that's their problem. Number one. Number two, this is the reality of Chicago Democrats in charge of state government. This is the Chicago Democrats' budget. It's the Chicago Democrats' state government. They've been in charge for generations. So this is the reality on the ground. So if you're not getting paid because the lottery doesn't have authorization to cut checks to lottery winners, or if you're, more importantly, a social service provider who's not getting paid for services rendered, if you're a vendor to the state not getting paid for products provided, then call Mike Madigan's office, call John Cullerton's office, and lodge your grievances where they should be lodged, with the leadership of the General Assembly that has been there for 40 years apiece.
Wow, winning. This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook or that your mom loved to dance, a person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR. The way you are buying your investments could be a major wealth leak, especially if you buy fee-heavy mutual funds. According to Everett Wealth Solutions, knowing just how much you are paying for your investments is crucial. Do your homework. Over a 30-year period of time, you could be losing $300,000 or more. That's money that should be in your retirement account, not the mutual fund company coffers. Everett says to consider robo-advising, a system that uses algorithms to invest in low-cost ETFs or exchange-transferred funds. You get intelligent, cost-effective design, which can improve performance and help eliminate expensive wealth leaks. Work with a fiduciary advisor who will educate you and recommend what is always in your best interest. For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
If Hillary loses the Hamptons, has she not effectively lost liberal America at 7:37?
And why one woman is coming forward saying that women are raped because of what they're wearing. We'll explain, but first let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Heavy fog, 65 degrees. Federal Reserve officials' comment about interest rates is getting the credit or blame, if you will, for a sell-off on global stock markets. Exchanges in Paris and Frankfurt took big dives today after the Fed's vice chairman said over the weekend there's a strong case remaining for raising interest rates in September. Indications are Wall Street will open lower as well. Dozens of Chicago firefighters are mopping up after a 3-alarm blaze on the northwest side. The extra alarm fire began around 1 a.m. at Lincoln Square Lanes, a bowling alley located in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue in the Lincoln Square neighborhood. The bowling alley appears to be a total loss. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta throwing the 6th no-hitter of this baseball season, striking out 12, holding the Dodgers hitless in a 2-0 victory, and says, yes, he did start to feel pretty good late in the game.
In the 8th is when it really started to become a reality. Was making good pitches throughout the game. And I feel like I was making it difficult for them to square the ball up. And I never really focused on strikeouts, but if you're able to command the ball early in the count, spin some stuff, with some good movement, things are going to happen in your favor.
Chicago avoids the 3-game sweep and snaps a 4-game losing skid in the process. Heavy rains and flooding possible in parts of Florida today. The good news is the remnants of Tropical Storm Erica have mostly missed the Sunshine State, and in areas that are feeling the rain, they're drought-stricken at this point. And forecasters are tracking a new development in the Atlantic Ocean this morning.
I think it's 4,000 miles away, and we've got it coming apart in about 3-4 days. It's a problem for the Cape Verde Islands, and that's about it. There's absolutely no chance of this thing going to the United States.
Dennis Feltgen with the National Hurricane Center talking about Fred. Hillary Clinton's State Department emails are back in the spotlight. Today, the State Department releases the biggest batch of messages stored on the private server in the former Secretary of State's home. Ben Carson gaining on Donald Trump in Iowa. Director of University of Virginia's Center for Politics, Larry Sabato, says Carson needs to be taken seriously.
And he's risen up without any melodramatic statements, without any drama. He's a quiet guy. So I think he scores with people on the personal characteristics, and they also, on the Republican side, like what he's saying.
Trump has 23% support in Iowa now. Carson sitting at 18%. White Sox over Seattle 6-5 in 11. Japan overcomes a big early deficit to beat Pennsylvania 18-11 in the Little League World Series. And in the WNBA, Connecticut beat the Sky. The news, a service of Lead Safe America. Does your child struggle to concentrate? Maybe pay attention. What does ADD or autism look like? Well, it may actually be caused by lead poisoning. Lead is a neurotoxin. It can cause permanent brain damage. Find out how to protect your family. Go to leadsafeamerica.org. 7:34. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Republican Party is attempting to take Trump off of state ballots.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Hey, the party elites don't get to decide who gets to run for president and who doesn't. The voters decide. You know what? They'll never get it. My family before party. My money before party. My country before party. And damn it, you better believe it's my freedom before any party.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Amy Jacobson, and I want to thank all the AM 560 listeners who have purchased thousands of MyPillows over the last 18 months and are enjoying your best sleep ever. But that still leaves thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. What are you waiting for? It's so important to get a great night's sleep. I can't live without mine. I even take it on vacations. It's American made, and when it gets dirty, just throw it in the washer and dryer. No need to take it to an expensive dry cleaner. So don't wait any longer. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, MyPillow is washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy, 800-489-0201.
Are you ready to take your education to the next level? Arizona State University now offers over 90 top-tier degree programs, 100% online. With ASU's highly ranked online programs, you'll earn the same degree as our on-campus students, with the ability to learn wherever you want, whenever you want. Same world-renowned faculty, same leading education, same global recognition from one of the top universities in the world. Call 1-800-400-9257. That's 1-800-400-9257.
I'm Jamie from Sherman Oaks, and I just graduated with my degree from Arizona State University. I chose ASU because I received the quality education I deserve in the major I wanted, all from my home.
Jamie's not the only one to earn a degree from ASU. There are over 90 degree programs offered 100% online from one of the top universities. Now's the time to learn more about earning your degree online from Arizona State University. Call 1-800-400-9257. That's 1-800-400-9257.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
7:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound Eden Spur, it's heavy Waukegan Road to the Edens, and there are delays from Oakton to the junction. 30 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy, 40 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 52. The Eisenhower, 45 minutes Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 57. Stevenson is 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound 48. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown, northbound Tri-State, jammed 115th to Harlem with a crash in the 3 right lanes, and 87th to Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. The other tollways have delays too. Traffic service of Lead Safe America. Does your child struggle to concentrate and pay attention? What looks like ADD or autism may actually be caused by lead poisoning. Lead is a neurotoxin that can cause permanent brain damage. Find out how to protect your family. Go to leadsafeamerica.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Morning fog beginning to burn off in the western suburbs, leading to a sunny and warm day. High 85. Clear skies overnight, low 68. Currently 64 degrees at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
So we have a tale of 2 female presidential candidates Hillary Clinton becoming a caricature of herself. Carly Fiorina becoming a contender. Start with Hillary. Boy, as I alluded to earlier, if you lose the Hamptons and you're Hillary Clinton, have you lost liberal America? One Hamptonite, is that what they're called?
Sure, they are now.
Andy Sabin has been posting Hillary for Prison 2016 signs. It's creative. But they keep getting taken by his well-heeled neighbors, apparently. And so Sabin has taken steps to make sure his yard signs are secure. The red, white, and blue signs now sit atop a pair of 12-foot poles behind an electric fence with yellow warning signs that
touch or die.
Well, no, yellow warning signs that a surveillance camera keeps watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he afraid some Clinton operatives are going to come in the middle of the night and try and take him
No,
down?
just his neighbors.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sabin said, living in a town, the Hamptons, with a lot of left-wing wackos, that's what happens. And Sabin adding that he decided to be creative with his signage because Hillary is extremely dishonest. And if you look at the polls, the public agrees with him, just not his neighbors. So that's the way. If you want those Hillary 2016 prison signs and you live in a very wealthy area, which is synonymous for liberal, by the way, then you may want to take some instruction from Andy Sabin with respect to protecting that creativity. I like it.
You like it?
I like it. Now, the flip side is Carly Fiorina. Did you see this? Part of the criticism of Fiorina has been she was fired from HP and it didn't perform well.
And stock prices went up after she left and blah, blah, blah.
And then there's this, a ad in the New York Times end of last week in which Tom Perkins from Kleiner Perkins, big venture capital firm in California, who was a member of the HP board during much of Fiorina's tenure, and also Fiorina was critical of him. He was critical of her. He writes in this ad, not only did she, Carly Fiorina, save the company from the dire straits it was in, she laid the foundation for HP's future growth.
Really?
I have no question that Carly is a transformational leader who uniquely has both vision and the expertise to implement it. Which is a powerful statement and unbelievably politically useful. And also, Mr. Perkins is a bit of an eccentric. So this is her, meaning Carly, dealing with him when she was CEO of Hewlett-Packard and he was on the board. Probably good training to deal with Trump, erratic billionaires. Mr. Perkins, in 2007, in connection with the publication of his memoir, Valley Boy, allowed 60 Minutes to profile him. He directed reporter Leslie Stahl's attention to his 298-foot boat, the Maltese Falcon, and remarked, I just want the biggest boat. Do I have an ego? Yes. Is it big? Yes. Very Trumpian, don't you think? So Fiorina has good training, not just being a Fortune 100 CEO in terms of dealing with all things economy related, but also in dealing with outsized egos like say, the gentleman leading the polls in the Republican primary at present.
Yeah, she can relate to him and his ego, because that's what it is. Don't try to figure out the male ego. Just try and live with it.
Although the flip side of that is, so think about this. So Fiorina, everybody has an ego. You have to be, you have to have an ego to be successful. You have to be an ego to run for office.
No, isn't there a difference between being confident and having an ego? Or do you really think you need an ego to run for office?
No, there's a difference between being confident and being arrogant.
Believe me.
But you have to have an ego because you have to be able to stand and deliver. You have to be able to suffer the slings and arrows of the political arena, or in a Carly's case, the corporate arena, or in Ben Carson's case, the medical arena. All of these things are very competitive and at sometimes confrontational. So you have to be strong-willed to get anything done in this world. And I think Fiorina and Carson have proven they are, which is why, in addition to Trump, the three of them being kind of the outside political office candidates, seem to be surging. It's not just Trump anymore. It's Carson and Fiorina as well. Dave in Grays Lake, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, radio host. I don't know what polls you're reading, but Carly Fiorina is not soaring at all. She's been in the low single digits in every single poll. She was a CEO. In other words, she was an employee of a company, which is what you are, and that's why she's not going to be going anywhere as president. Quit knocking Trump. He's the only hope our country has. About 90% of the people in this country want a wall built, unlike knuckleheads like you.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Thanks for the call, Dave.
Wow, a little angry this Monday morning. Huh?
Yeah, that's there's
you radio host, you.
right. You resident of Grays Lake, Dave. You yeah. So there's that strain of Trump support, which is the most ugly strain of it. But there's a lot of Trump supporters that are not hysterics like Dave. And with respect to Fiorina, this radio host will remind Dave and some other Trump supporters that yes, he's leading in Iowa and New Hampshire. But the national polls are kind of largely irrelevant when it comes to a state-by-state campaign. And as it pertains to Carly Fiorina, she's now in second place in New Hampshire. So I would say that's a spike.
Yeah, I would too.
She's moved to fourth place in Iowa, right there with Ted Cruz. I would say that's a spike. Wouldn't you?
And she won the first debate, and she wasn't even on the main stage. I mean, they polled people, and she beat Donald Trump in the first debate.
Well, it's a little bit of apples and oranges. I mean,
yeah, but still, I mean, Gilmore, Jindal, Pataki, and Graham are getting hashtags right now.
Right.
They're not even getting
Fiorina
1%.
did well, and she's been doing very well because she's very impressive, and she speaks in substance but cogently.
Mhm.
She's
Right,
educated.
she's succinct.
Well, she's educated in the classics. It's one of the reasons. So she has great historical perspective. She is a thinker. She clearly is a reader. She is intellectually curious. She's a striver who makes the point that she went from a secretary to CEO. That is not a jump that is normally made.
No.
So there's something about Carly Fiorina that is has great appeal, and I think I've just described a lot of it, frankly. And then there's this piece from Peggy Noonan last week, which we touched on, but it bears repeating. She talks about the base of the Republican Party. She writes, "It's not the limited cliche thing it once was. It's becoming a big, broad jumble that few understand." And I think the few understand include, in terms of those that don't understand, include the Republican Party leadership. And we have a couple of pieces over the last few days in the Weekly Standard, Ross Douthat, and New York Times, suggesting that you can describe Donald Trump as Sideshow Donald, as I have, and see him as a bit of a carnival barker. But what he's tapping into is very real and important. And to the extent that Republican Party leadership or the other candidates that are elected office holders, perhaps with the exception of Cruz, who seems to get it more than the others do, to the extent that they don't tap into it, is the extent that it's going to be very hard for them to break from the pack and be the anti-Trump, much less to pile up primary and caucus victories in early states. And you're going to see a winnowing the field, certainly after Iowa and New Hampshire. And it'll be very interesting to see who's left standing. I have grave concern right now, for example, for my candidate of choice, Scott Walker, because I don't think he has effectively tapped into it. I think he's maybe least equipped to do so rhetorically, because that's just not his personality, not his style. He's an understated guy, and that's okay. But you can still do what he did in the early stages in Iowa, which launched him to the lead in Iowa that he held for 5 months. And he seems to have gone away from that and communicated more like Jeb Bush in kind of an equivocating way, and less like the Scott Walker who stood up to the public sector unions when they besieged Madison.
Well, he tried to make news yesterday. He was on Meet the Press talking about building a border between the United States and Canada.
Why are we always talking about the southern border and building a fence there? We don't talk about a northern border. If this is about securing the border from potentially terrorists coming over.
Well,
we want to build a wall north of the border.
Some people have asked us about that in New Hampshire. They've raised some very legitimate concerns, including some law enforcement folks that brought that up to me at one of our town hall meetings about a week and a half ago. So,
do you think maybe he's just too nice?
I don't think he's too nice. I think he's tough. I just think that he needs to be more pointed in his remarks. And, the idea of Republicans running around competing to see who can build the most walls is a bit silly. That's not responding to the base. That's responding to Trump. Responding to the base would be to address what Trump is addressing, the feeling like the game is rigged against people who have done everything right, who play by the rules, and see big moneyed interests controlling both parties and rigging the game against them. That's what it is. I mean, look, I agree with that. I mean, when I ran for governor 5 years ago, my tagline was Illinois isn't broken, it's fixed. And of course, we exported the Chicago Democrat governance model of Illinois nationally. So I agree with kind of what Trump is identifying. I just think he's the wrong vehicle for it. And I think his recklessness with rhetoric, in addition to his kind of being all over the map on every issue, doesn't engender a lot of faith or trust in what he would do as president. But it is instructive what he's tapping into and what Fiorina are tapping into and why Trump, Fiorina, and Carson are spiking. Will they potentially fade at some point? Maybe, but the legitimate exasperation within the Republican primary electorate will not fade.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, Christy Hine says women are to blame for being raped. We'll explain. But first, here's your forecast. The fog is lifting. We're going to have sunny skies today, warm, a high of 85 degrees. Actually, a string of hot and humid days. Tomorrow we'll hit 90. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Abe. And after that major fire at Lincoln Square Lanes, the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue remains blocked off. Eden's inbound 30 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 35. The Kennedy 40 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 52. Inbound Ike 47 minutes. Thorndale to the post office outbound 53. The Stevenson 54 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive outbound 48. The Rhine is 20 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State. A mess from Cicero to Harlem, where a crash has 3 right lanes blocked, and it's also pretty slow. 87th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway stop and go 25 to Barrington Road and Bussey to Lee. Reagan Tollway from the Fox River to 59 and York to the Tri-State, the Veterans Memorial. Jammed I-55 most of the way to St. Charles, and Army Trail to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
So often on the show, we talk about the important issues that affect your world, things like the economy, education, foreign policy, Trump's hair. And on this show, because there's always so much going on, we don't have the time to drill down to talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. It's one of the reasons I'm involved with a new website, along with the Illinois Policy Institute, called Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com. At Upstream Ideas, you'll find information that will inform some of the policy discussions that we're having here on this show and elsewhere. At Upstream Ideas, we want to broaden the parameters of debate and move beyond the same old partisan assumptions. We want to challenge accepted orthodoxies, and we debunk some of the faulty premises that inform the rules on which our free society is based. In other words, we're pushing against the current and thinking upstream. We'll ask why are conditions the way they are, and how can those conditions be improved. So go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. This week on the Illinois by the Numbers segment, the number 214. Find out why 214 is important. With each visit to Upstream Ideas, you'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the good old USA a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I was on thyroid medicine for 5 years. I have completely got off of it, and all my blood work came back excellent.
It does a lot of good for me because I feel it works. The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down, and it's normal now.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 4.
Worn-out tires can cost you a lot more than new tires.
It's true. In the long run, badly worn tires put stress on suspension parts,
which can lead to real expensive repairs.
Worn tires have poor traction.
That's why so many families are riding on Merlin 200,000-mile warranty tires.
What's your family riding on? Stop in at your local Merlin 200,000-mile shop for details and a free tire inspection today.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
If you've been making trails all summer, now's the time to get ready for fall. Follow the trail to your local Merlin shop for a free tire inspection. And right now, you can get up to a $70 rebate on a set of Ford General tires during the Making Trails promotion. Go to merlins.com for locations, coupons, and to make an appointment.
AM 560, The Answer.
It's back for another year. We're talking about Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, the premier conservative event in the Midwest. Now, if you were a part of it last year, then you know what a great event this will be. And if you missed out last year, then don't wait to get your tickets. Sean Hannity returns as one of our featured speakers. He'll be joined by a lineup of top conservative voices in the nation. Also, we'll have a full lineup of seminars on issues like grassroots activism, public policy, and organizing for victory in 2016. Tickets start at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. And as a special bonus offer for a limited time, if you purchase a $99 ticket, you will get a complimentary ticket to our next GOP debate watch party coming up on Wednesday, September 16th at the Hollywood Palms Cinema in Naperville. We're calling it Big Issues on the Big Screen. Watch the debate on the big screen with a couple of hundred AM 560 listeners. It's like two events for the price of one. Freedom Summit 2015 and the big issues on the big screen. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-655-8385.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Think you might be bloated? Call now for a free trial of New Biotics and see how much flatter it makes your belly. You might be surprised. But hurry, call now for details while these free trials last. 1-800-655-8385. That's 1-800-655-8385. 1-800-655-8385.
You know, my dad was having such horrible back pains. As his birthday gift, I gave him a pillow from MyPillow. Slept on it last night. I'll get a report out to you tomorrow to see if it helped with his chronic neck and back pain. I love it because I have scoliosis and it conforms to my neck and back, and it helps me get the best sleep ever. Don't wait any longer. MyPillow also helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. If it gets dirty, put it in the washer and dryer, and you're good to go the very next evening. It's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer, just visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now. Call the number 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com.
It's Feldco's biggest sale. All windows, siding, and doors installed for free. That's right. All windows installed for free. All doors installed for free. All siding installed for free. Buy now and pay later with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 1 year. It's Feldco's biggest sale. Hurry, Feldco's free installation ends Labor Day. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
I was fed up with the overwhelming liberal bias in public schools, so I decided to homeschool my kids. The problem was finding a curriculum that represented the values I grew up with. Things like faith, family, patriotism, and the truth about our country's history. Then I checked out BJU Press. BJU Press has everything our homeschool needs, and with the right values. Go to bjupresshomeschool.com and see for yourself. You'll feel good about how you homeschool.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
141 counties have more in the country, have more registered voters than they do residents. That could be an election fraud problem. We're going to talk to somebody from the Pacific Legal Foundation that is taking an interest in remedying the voter rolls at 808.
And Donald Trump retaliates against journalist Jorge Ramos. Wait until you hear what he did to him. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Fog beginning to burn off this morning. That's an improving story we'll tell you about in our news at the top of the hour. And Jim Talamonte will be along with the traffic impact coming up a little later as well. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta throws a no-hitter, and then the Cubs throw a pajama party. We'll have details on that story coming up. Father and daughter killed in a Lake County crash, and that corpse flower didn't bloom. It had to be cut open manually. We'll tell you why. Sox nipped the Mariners, and that Morning fog again is burning off today, leading to a sunny, warm, and humid day with a high of 85. Weather after Fox News on AM 560 The Answer, and WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. He'll meet with Alaskan natives, talk to fishermen, and most of all, keep up his intense focus on climate change. President Obama getting ready to go to Alaska today, where a famous mountain has a new name. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Mount McKinley will now be known as Denali, a change Ohio lawmakers are upset about, as the peak was named for the 25th president, who was from their state. They're calling it executive overreach, but Alaskans have wanted this change for a quarter century. Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski supports the move.
We're honored to be able to officially recognize the mountain as Denali.
President Obama will spend 3 days in Alaska calling for more to be done to combat climate change. House Speaker John Boehner says he's deeply disappointed with the name change decision. Dave.
Rachel, arraignment is later this morning in Texas for Shannon Miles. The man authorities say, unprovoked, murdered a sheriff's deputy who was pumping gas into his patrol car Friday night. A memorial to him keeps growing outside that station.
We'd be staying home alone, and he'd come check on us, and when we were out of town, he'd make sure our house was okay.
It's very tragic this had to happen, and he's a really good guy, really good officer.
Do long execution delays that can be unpredictable amount to cruel and unusual punishment for inmates on death row in California? A federal appeals court will consider that today after a lower court judge's ruling that is being appealed by the state's attorney general. There's a new hurricane in the Atlantic, Fred. It'll hit the Cape Verde Islands tonight. Too early to know if the U.S. will ever be threatened. As the remains of Erica rain on Florida this week, parts of St. Augustine flooded.
Every time it rains, when we get this heavy storms like this, it's like this every time.
And another hurricane is set to pass by Hawaii, not expected to pose much of a threat. A 14-year-old boy has died in Houston. Michael Riley was the victim of a rare bacteria known as a brain-eating amoeba that he got while swimming in a lake. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
65 degrees, and right now we have clearing conditions. That after the fog began to burn off around 7:45 this morning. Now at 8:02, fog continues to burn off in the western suburbs. We'll see if that has an impact on your morning commute in just a moment with Jim Talamonte. Meantime, dozens of Chicago firefighters are at the scene of a blaze, mopping up after that 3-alarm fire tore through the Lincoln Square lanes. Located in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue in the Lincoln Square neighborhood, that bowling alley appears to be a total loss. Chicago Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta throwing in the 6th no-hitter of the baseball season, holding the Dodgers hitless in a 2-0 win on Sunday night.
In the 8th is when it really started to become a reality. Was making good pitches throughout the game. And I feel like I was making it difficult for them to square the ball up. And I never really focus on strikeouts, but if you're able to command the ball early in the count, spin some stuff, with some good movement, things are going to happen in your favor.
Cubs still 5 up on the Giants in the race for the last wild card spot. Father and daughter are dead following a crash in Lake County. The coroner's officer says Christopher Winowitz and his teenage daughter were killed after the car they were riding in collided with another vehicle in Lindenhurst. 2 men are facing reckless homicide charges following a crash in suburban Robbins that left 2 parents dead and 3 children hurt. The mayor of a northwest Indiana city and his wife go on trial on federal charges of conspiracy, wire fraud, and filing false tax returns. Jury selection in the trial of Lake Station Mayor Keith Soderquist and his wife is scheduled to begin today in Hammond. White Sox beat Seattle 6-5 in 11. The news, a service of Lead Safe America. Do you live in an historic home? Are you renovating? Your children could be at risk of lead poisoning. It takes just a microscopic amount of lead dust to poison a child. Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. 8:04 is our time. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Carmen Roberts.
From the Fox Business Network, the last day of August, and many investors are happy to see it go. Stocks in the U.S., Europe, and Asia having their worst month since 2012, and it may get worse. Fresh worries a September rate hike may still be in the cards after statements from Federal Reserve officials this weekend. One of the world's largest food companies wants to cut greenhouse gas emissions from farm to fork to landfill. General Mills setting an ambitious goal for a 28% reduction by 2025. The CEO says climate change is bad for business. Japan's Mitsubishi Estate Company plans to build the country's largest building in central Tokyo. It would rise more than 1,200 feet and cost more than $8 billion. And if you work long hours, you may get more work done, but you'll be putting your health at risk. A new study shows that if you work more than 55 hours a week, you have a 30% greater chance of a stroke. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carmen Roberts.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The FICO score is not really even a good indication that you pay your debts back.
Dave Ramsey.
What it's an indication of is, do you love debt? And are you planning on staying in debt continually, forever? If you're running around trying to build your FICO score and you call that winning with money, you're stupid. Was I unclear? I hope not. Because you're not winning with money. That's the point.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show, tonight at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Good Neighbor pharmacy.
It's 8:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. And with that fog, flight boards at O'Hare show a significant number of delays, more for arrivals than departures. Midway looks pretty good. The Edens inbound delays start around Devon. It's 27 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, though it's slow on the eastbound spur from Waukegan Road. Outbound 30 minutes, Montrose to Lake Cook. Kennedy, 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 45. The Eisenhower, 47 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound it's 53 minutes. The Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 48. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State. Just a mess from Cicero to Harlem where a crash just moved to the right shoulder. Then stop and go 87th to 31st, and from the Reagan-Tollway to Grand Avenue, Adams Tollway, slow 25 to Barrington Road and Bussey to Lee. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Let's get the very latest on the weather developments this morning with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A dense fog advisory in effect this morning for outlying areas. Otherwise, mostly sunny and warm today with a high 85, then a clear night tonight with a low of 68. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
64 at O'Hare, 66 along the lakefront, 67 at Midway. Next news at 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
New Iowa poll results put Senator Bernie Sanders within 7 points of a once comfortable Democratic frontrunner, Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump's big splash in Iowa seems to be paying off. He remains perched in double digits at the top of a crowded field. But neurosurgeon and Washington outsider Dr. Ben Carson comes in second place. And if you consider the margin of error, they are virtually tied.
With Hillary Clinton, it just seems to be one scandal after another.
I don't want it to be about me. This is about common sense. It's about doing the right thing.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
This rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter?
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Amy, it's not just for Cook County anymore. The Pacific Legal Foundation, the Public Interest Legal Foundation, has identified 141 counties that have more registered voters than people alive in the county. Now that is,
so is this a repeat offense?
It's a bit of an
crime?
electoral impossibility. And so they are poised to litigate this matter. And that's kind of important because you can kind of do everything right. And if, as we know from the annals of Cook County electoral history, if the Democrats have a few tens of thousands of votes in their back pocket to alter the balance in the witching hour on election night, boy, then that can certainly be impactful. Just ask John F. Kennedy back in 1960. And we're now joined by Joseph Vanderhulst, who is an attorney for the Public Interest Legal Foundation. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it, Joseph.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Amy. Thanks for having me.
So I'm a little disappointed, though. You break out the 21 states where there are 141 total counties with more registered voters than people alive. And I was shocked that Illinois is only third on the list with 17 counties. Are you sure you counted correctly? We do have 102 counties.
Yes, we're aware. We counted correctly. We believe we did. And Illinois is not at the top, but it's pretty close there. I think it's third on our list.
What counties are most fraudulent?
Well, the ones that have the most are typically in the south of the state. We've got Franklin County, Pulaski, Washington, Henderson, Union, and they all seem to be in the south. So possibly populations decreasing, maybe. I don't know.
And now you have counties like Cook, for example, where maybe not the county as a whole has more registered voters than people alive, but wards or municipalities within the county do. Do you get down to the granular level, or are you just, for the purposes of this legal challenge, looking at the county level?
We are only looking at the county level, and that's because where we're getting this data is all publicly available data through the Election Assistance Commission, and this is all data that is voluntarily reported by the counties every other year to that commission, and that's where we get the data. So it doesn't go down to that municipal level.
And so explain the importance of this, because as I understand from the left and the Chicago Democrats who lord over this county and this state, and the one that we sent to D.C. there, that there is no such thing as election fraud. It doesn't happen.
Well, of course they're wrong on that. I mean, there's probably the biggest danger with these bloated rolls is, people in the past, there have been people who have voted for dead people. I mean, relatives that request a absentee ballot and vote for them. That has happened in the past. The other thing that I don't think people realize is when a roll is bloated like this, it bogs down the system. It can delay voting. It can create long lines, and it's just bad election administration, and it breaks the law because there's a federal statute that requires counties and election officials to keep their rolls clean and to actively maintain their rolls.
So how is this lawsuit going to bring about change?
Well, the reality is that we send the notices. They have 90 days to respond or correct or do something. And then by law, under the motor voter statute, anyone has the ability to bring a lawsuit to basically force them to make changes and force them to clean up the rolls.
We're talking to Joseph Vanderhulst. He's an attorney for the Public Interest Legal Foundation, moving on 21 states where there are 141 counties in total that have more registered voters than alive residents. It's it's
I mean,
funny,
how is it
funny,
even
but
possible?
it isn't.
I just don't understand how this works.
Well, so here's the question, Joseph: do you think, from your investigation and compiling this information, do you have any sense of whether this is purposeful in many instances, or is it just kind of incompetence and dereliction of duty across the board?
That I think it runs the gamut between those two extremes, and I think part of the problem, what a lot of people don't realize, is that there are groups who have sued counties to stop them from cleaning up their rolls in the interest of, making sure that people aren't erroneously removed. The problem is then you've created, and this happened a lot in 2007, 2008, and the problem is that now you have a lot of places in a lot of counties where they're afraid to or think that they don't need to maintain their rolls, and so they've created kind of a time bomb over the last decade where you've got dead wood, people who have moved or people who have died who are just clogging up the rolls.
Well, you don't want to disenfranchise the dead. That doesn't seem right. Dead Lives Matter. That's the forthcoming campaign.
That's a new one. I like that.
Yeah, right. The Walking Dead will be out marching soon enough, and I the Chicago City Council, for example,
Yes.
but I repeat myself. So here's another question, too, is you've looked at these counties, 141 counties, 17 counties in Illinois. Any sense of, or have you taken the time to look and say, do these counties normally trend Democrat or Republican? Any distribution information on that?
That actually we don't know, and we haven't tracked that. And for our purposes, it doesn't really matter. We just think it's important that the rolls be clean, especially ahead of this next election, because, you have to keep in mind that the Department of Justice has the jurisdiction and has the obligation to do this themselves and enforce this themselves. And in the past almost decade now, they have done nothing, not a single action to try and enforce this requirement that counties maintain the rolls.
Gee, that's a surprise.
And I'm so surprised that Michigan is number one. Why is that?
Again, we don't know. It just that's what the data showed, and based on this public data, we pulled it and crunched some numbers, and they came out on top.
Have you received any notice letter? I mean, I know you sent notice letters to these counties. Have you received any feedback, like we're going to take corrective action to clean up our rolls?
We have not yet. We just sent them last week. Some may be more responsive than others, and some may not respond at all. We'll see what happens.
Well, don't hold your breath waiting for Illinois' response.
And
they're kind of busy right now.
Yeah, and any sense of the kind of total vote universe we're talking about with these 141 counties? Because, national elections, many of these national elections, even in the recent past, decided by a relatively small number of votes when you consider a country of 330 million people.
You're asking, what's the overall, like how far over is it? It kind of varies from some have 101% and some have up to 190%. So it really varies, and basically the way we've approached it is what some federal courts have said is if you're over 100%, you've got to be doing something wrong. That can't possibly be that number.
I'm glad the federal court knows basic math. So, but generally speaking, are we talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of votes?
I think that's possible. I wouldn't say hundreds of thousands, and I don't want to speculate, but we're definitely in the thousands, yes.
All right. He is Joseph Vanderhulst, attorney for the Public Interest Legal Foundation. We'll be following this story. We'll have you back on to see what you're able to do in terms of cleaning up these rolls. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan and Amy. Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
So long as this situation remains, government spokesmen warn that dead bodies will continue to be transformed into the flesh-eating ghouls. All persons who die during this crisis, from whatever cause, will come back to life to seek human victims unless their bodies are first disposed of by cremation.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, Donald Trump retaliates against Jorge Ramos. Wait till you hear what he did. But first, here's your forecast. The fog is lifted. It's sunny. It's going to be warm, a high of 85. Tonight, clear, low of 68. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, The heat continues, and so does the humidity, a high near 90. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Northbound Tri-State, it's jammed solid Cicero to Harlem with a crash on the right shoulder and slow farther north from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go, 25 to Barrington Road, Bussey to Lee. Reagan Tollway delays are 31 to Farnsworth. Veterans Memorial pretty slow from I-55 most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. The Edens is 23 minutes late. Cook to Montrose outbound 40. It's jammed out to Tower Road. Kennedy, 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 42. The Eisenhower, 47 minutes. Thorndale to the post office outbound 44. Stevenson, 54 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive outbound 46. And the Ryan, 20 minutes. 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I've never recommended a Chicagoland real estate agent on this show before, but I know one that guarantees to sell your home. It's Saul Z and the Z Team. If 29 days pass without a sale, Saul will buy your home at a predetermined price. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything, because if you aren't happy, just cancel the contract. Saul does that because his marketing is on a whole different level. He literally has buyers lined up. For example, Deborah from Lincoln Park sold her home in only 9 days at $80,000 above the asking price. Why would you list with anyone else? Make Saul Z your first call. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul among the top 250 agents in the country. I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell my well-appointed condo or buy a home. Go to Call Saul. That's Saul, SAUL.net, callsaul.net, to get your home sold fast at a great price. Don't leave money on the table. You can also call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666, or online at callsaul.net. And start packing.
Summer is here, and your business can't afford mechanical issues with its HVAC system. You also don't want just anyone doing the job. When you want the best trained and skilled team, you want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading full-service mechanical HVAC and refrigeration provider. Each year, Air Comfort invests in ongoing staff training to keep up with changes in technology and products. Why is training so important? Because Air Comfort understands that doing the job the right way the first time is just the beginning of a long-term relationship with its clients. That's why Air Comfort is a proud supporter of the UA Standard of Excellence and is certified as a star contractor by MSCA. With more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby to serve your HVAC needs. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has earned the trust of thousands of customers with businesses just like yours. To find out more, call 708-345-1900 or visit them online at aircomfort.com.
At LifeQuotes.com, you can compare the rates of 50 top-rated life insurance companies in seconds. A healthy 40-year-old male can now apply for $500,000 of high-quality term life insurance for less than $22 per month. A $1 million policy can cost as little as $33 per month. Females pay even less. The LifeQuotes.com price comparison service is online, private, and convenient. And if your health history is less than perfect, our rater can handle up to 35 common illnesses such as elevated cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and more. We make it easy to search the market in seconds, view the lowest possible rates, and apply online to the company of your choice. 300,000 people have saved money buying life insurance policies through LifeQuotes.com because they liked our direct style of doing business. Visit LifeQuotes.com today to see how much you could save.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Joe Walsh here. It's the start of another week, and can you smell that? It's America's anger festering. Freedom returns at 5 to stoke the flames.
Yeah, I smell the anger. Well, actually, there's still a bit of animosity between Donald Trump and Jorge Ramos, the anchor from Univision and Fusion, and you can't forget the interchange.
Mr. Trump has a question about immigration. Your immigration plan.
Okay, who's next? Yeah, please.
Mr. Trump, I have a question.
Excuse me, sit down. You weren't called. Sit down. Sit down.
No, I'm a
Sit down.
an immigrant.
Go ahead.
I have the right to ask the question.
No, you don't. You haven't been called.
I have the right to ask the question.
Go back to Univision.
So we
Great
remember
political
that.
theater.
Yeah, it was. And some people called Ramos not a journalist, but a activist, and that he wasn't there to ask questions. He was there just to
he is an
make
advocate.
a name for himself.
He has a name, at least in Latino media, but he's an advocate. He is an advocate. There's no question about it.
Yeah, well, he explained himself a little bit further on ABC's This Week with Martha Raddatz and said that Donald Trump took retaliatory measures against him and did this.
And I sent him a note requesting an interview, and instead of responding to that note, he published my cell phone on the internet, and of course I had to change my cell phone. So he wasn't going to call me. What happened is I allowed two reporters asked questions before me. Then I said, I have a question on immigration. Nobody said anything. He stayed silent. And when I started stating the premise of my question, which is that he can't deport 11 million or build a 1,900-mile wall or deny citizenship to the children born here. He clearly didn't like my question, so he did something very strange with his mouth. He signaled his bodyguard to take me out of the press conference, and that's exactly what he did.
So that's the real story.
Well, what's the
why
real story? That's the story that was transparently the story from the beginning.
The two other reporters asked questions, and then
So
he
what?
decided because he didn't want to answer the question
so
about
what?
immigration.
Ramos has no right to have his hand called upon to ask a question. He doesn't have a constitutional right to demand Donald Trump call on him or answer any question he has. So what? What's the big deal?
But what grown man releases somebody's cell phone number?
What are you talking about? He did it to Lindsey Graham. If it's good enough for Lindsey Graham, it's good enough for Jorge Ramos.
Well, Jorge Ramos went on to say that Donald Trump, if elected, he'll be a dictator.
The way he censored the Des Moines Register reporter from coming into that press conference, that is a kind of behavior that I had never seen in the United States, that I've seen in dictatorships, but never here. And that's something that we have to be aware of. Absolutely.
Of course, I still defend Jorge Ramos.
Yeah, you mean like the PRI in Mexico? You mean like those kind of dictatorships?
The pre-party. All right, so Donald Trump on Friday, no mainstream media has covered this. On Friday, he had a big brouhaha in Boston where there was a lot of drinking going on, a lot of, I don't know exactly what this is, but...
How much drinking was going on?
You can see people drinking in the YouTube video. They were having fun, and Donald Trump became somewhat of a stand-up comedian.
So Uma is getting classified secrets. She's married to Anthony Weiner, who's a perv. No, he is.
That's true.
He is. So she's married. Now, these are confidential documents. She's married to this guy and guess what happens to Anthony Weiner? A month ago, I see he went to work for a public relations firm. Do you believe it? Now, if you think that Uma isn't telling Anthony, who she's probably desperately in love with, in all fairness to Anthony, because why else would she marry this guy? Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's true.
Can't see straight. But if you would, look, think of it.
I mean, Dan, you even ran for office. Is that normal behavior? I mean, doesn't this sound like a stand-up routine at Zanies?
Well, what's wrong with anything? So he's providing a little entertainment value to the assembled. So what?
But it's quite entertaining.
So it's coming through Uma. She's got a lot of stuff, a lot of information. Who knows? So she's married to a bad guy. I know Anthony Weiner for a long time. I knew before they caught him with the bing, 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 right? And he was a bad guy then. It turned out that he was a really bad guy. So she's married to Anthony Weiner. Do you think there's even a 5% chance that she's not telling Anthony Weiner, now of a public relations firm, what the hell is coming across? Do you think there's even a little bit of a chance? I don't think so. Are there any women in this room who are in love with their husbands who wouldn't be telling them everything? You would or wouldn't? No, she said, I wouldn't, but I'm in love. No, you will.
More importantly,
Wow.
Uma was telling Hillary relating classified material to Hillary, that's a little bit more important than Carlos Danger. But but if she was relating classified information to him as well, then she's in trouble. And I think Huma is in trouble. I think Mrs. Carlos Danger is in serious legal trouble. So what Trump is doing is providing a little bit of entertaining context to the trouble we all know exists.
Sure is entertaining. Clinton's camp did release a statement saying there is no place for patently false personal attacks toward a staff member, and that Trump should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, of course. Right. Trump's really ashamed. And by the way, Carlos Danger is a perv, so he's correct on that score.
You mean it's not politically correct?
Misdemeanor wiener.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You have the AC on, but part of your house, maybe a room, maybe an entire area is too hot or maybe even too cold. The problem's been there for a while and you just put up with it. Well, it's time to find out why that's happening and maybe fix it.
This is Terry Van Summerman. My company is Air Right Heating and Cooling. Our name says it all. Let's get the air right.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is offering a special deal right now for just $98. They will come to your home and find out why that area or room is too hot or too cold. You pay a lot for your AC. And you shouldn't have to put up with the problem. Sometimes the fix is simple. For just $98, Air Right will find out why you have the problem. So find out how you can get your air right now. Go to getmyairright.com. Getmyairright.com. Tell them you want the special offer to get your air right. Just $98 to get the comfort back. Want to call them? 888-589-8584. 888-589-8584. Air Right. Decades of helping Chicagoland get the air right.
So often on the show, we talk about the important issues that affect your world, things like the economy, education, foreign policy, Carlos Danger. And on this show, because there's always so much going on, we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. It's one of the reasons I'm involved with a new website along with the Illinois Policy Institute called Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com. At Upstream Ideas, you'll find information that will inform some of the policy discussions that we're having here on this show and elsewhere. At Upstream Ideas, we want to broaden the parameters of debate and move beyond the same old partisan assumptions. We want to challenge accepted orthodoxies, and we debunk some of the faulty premises that inform the rules on which our free society is based. In other words, we're pushing against the current and thinking upstream. We'll ask, why are conditions the way they are, and how can those conditions be improved? So go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. Illinois by the numbers this week, 214. Find out why that number is important. And with each visit to Upstream Ideas, you'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the good old USA a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, that mission to Mars.
Yeah, the Mars isolation experiment begins. Who's in, who's out? We'll have it at 8:38.
And how finding money on the street led one man to $1 million fortune. We'll explain. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Outside, we have clearing conditions. That heavy fog in the western suburbs is beginning to burn away this morning. We have 66 degrees. The mother of a man accused of shooting and killing a Texas sheriff deputy this morning is attempting to give him an alibi. That woman saying Shannon Miles could not have shot and killed Darren Goforth because she was shopping with that man, Shannon Miles, at the time of the incident. She adds that when they made it home, they were ambushed by SWAT officers and police dogs. Harris County Sheriff Ron Hickman says that right now there is no motive for the murder.
As far as we know, Deputy Goforth had no previous contact with the suspect, and it appears at the outset to be clearly unprovoked.
No word from Hickman on that proposed alibi. With the brunt of Erica seemingly missing Florida, the state has eyes on a new development forming in the Atlantic. Although Fred is now a hurricane, the National Hurricane Center says no one in the Sunshine State should really be worrying about it. Well-known horror film director Wes Craven dead at the age of 76. His many credits include Nightmare on Elm Street. Congressman Bob Gibbs speaking out this morning and voicing opposition to the president's decision to rename Alaska's Mount McKinley, North America's tallest peak, is named for the 25th president, an Ohio native, William McKinley, but the president will restore the Native American name Denali to the peak. Watch your pocketbook this fall. The next version of Apple TV will cost more than twice as much as the $69 version that's available now. The website 9to5Mac is reporting Apple executives are considering a starting price of either $149 or $199 for the Apple TV edition due out in October. Dozens of Chicago firefighters mopping up the scene of a 311 blaze on the northwest side that destroyed Lincoln Square lanes of bowling alley in the 4800 block of North Lincoln Avenue. Cubs pitcher Jake Arrieta throws a no-hitter, number 6 on the baseball season, and holding the Dodgers hitless in a Cubs 2-0 win Sunday night. And the search continues for a man suspected in the brutal attack and sexual assault of a woman in Willowbrook. Police have released a sketch of the man and say they may have found that suspect's vehicle in nearby Brookfield. White Sox over Seattle 6-5 in 11. WNBA, Connecticut beat the Sky. The News, a service of the City of Chicago and Cook County. Suspicious activity can be found anywhere. Help keep our communities safe. 855-RPRT-2S4. If you see something, say something. From the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and the Cook County Department of Homeland Security. 8:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes we haven't seen the last of Joe Biden.
Joe Biden huddling with Elizabeth Warren at his residence over the weekend unexpectedly. He summoned Elizabeth Chief Pocahontas Warren. I'm telling you, I've been saying it all along. Joe Biden's going to run. Get ready for a Biden-Warren ticket.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
At Galaxy, they'll help make the house you have into the home you love. Right now, get kitchen or bath cabinets, 2 for the price of 1. Contact Galaxy 773-783-8300 or GalaxyHome.com.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Good Neighbor pharmacy.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
When news breaks, he's there at the heart of the story.
There is no better way to show you the scope of our lead story than from the air. Beating is the word we're taking right now. It is, in fact, a taste of freedom.
When lives change, he's there to listen.
You want your child to be able to walk outside and feel safe and feel like they're important.
When it really matters, you can depend on him.
It's a lot to try and understand here and much to learn.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
It is 8:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eden's inbound 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 33. The Kennedy 50 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Express lane saves 7 or 8. Outbound 36 minutes to O'Hare. The Eisenhower 47 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 36. Stevenson 54 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. It's now fine outbound. The Ryan 20 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound slow 132 to 176. Northbound very slow from the Calsag Bridge to Harlem after a crash. From the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Adams Tollway slow 25 to 59 and Bussey to Lee. Reagan Tollway jammed up 31 to Eola with a crash on the left shoulder. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935. Areas of morning fog are dissipating now, leaving us with sunny and warm conditions, high 85 and clear and 68 overnight. 64 at O'Hare, 67 at Midway. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, you know why so many people are trying to escape this planet for the red planet? You know, what was it, 50,000, 100,000 people signed up for the one-way ticket to Mars?
Because of failed democratic policies, because of Obama.
Because of people like DeRay McKesson, who's the founder, the celebrated founder of hashtag Black Lives Matter. So on CNN this morning, he called the assassination of that deputy sheriff Goforth in Houston over the weekend, he called that, quote, a random act of violence.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, that's what he called it. And then he went on to add, that was not incendiary enough. He went on to add that Sheriff Ron Hickman's statement that all lives matter was prejudicial against an entire group of people. What, humans? This is the kind of silliness that you get from a DeRay McKesson, from these professional agitators and hysterics. Regarding the pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. That was the chant of Black Lives Matter over the weekend in Minnesota. Regarding that, he said, the only charged rhetoric has been for police accountability. It is a profession that denies accountability. So police as a profession, as a group, are not accountable, and African Americans as a group are the victims of police and prejudicial rhetoric. That's DeRay McKesson, Black Lives Matter.
Is he just ignoring the facts? I mean, everybody that was there
Yes, that's what he's doing.
Saw him attack the police officer, shoot him multiple times, even when he was down. Even when they believe he was already dead, he kept pumping more bullets into him because he was wearing a uniform.
Wonder where he gets that. Maybe it's from random bunch of folks shot at a Jewish deli in Paris, said the President of the United States. Workplace violence at Fort Hood, said the U.S. military, the U.S. Army, with respect to Major Hassan's terrorist act there. So I wonder where he gets this rationalization and redefinition of evil. He gets his power from coward liberals. The Democrats in Minnesota passed a resolution affirming support for Black Lives Matter because they're so afraid. They're so, it's kind of a parasitic, well, I guess it's a symbiotic relationship. The Democrats need the African-American vote to continue to walk in lockstep with the Democrats, and the Black Lives Matter agitators need a sympathetic ear to maintain any relevance, and so they have that in the cowardly Democrat leadership. So that's the circle of life, Simba. And so, if we continue to have more DeRay McKessons, I want to see if I can get onto this, get in on this isolation experiment, which began over the weekend.
It did?
Yeah, 6 people shut themselves inside a dome for a year in Hawaii in the longest U.S. isolation experiment aimed at helping NASA prepare for a pioneering journey to Mars. So here are the 6. Virgins, I presume. French astrobiologist, German physicist, 4 Americans, a pilot, an architect, a doctor journalist, and a soil scientist. Yeah. They are based on a barren northern slope of Mauna Loa, living inside a dome that is 36 feet by 20 feet in a place with no animals and little vegetation around. They closed themselves in at 3 o'clock Hawaii time on Saturday, marking the official start of their 12-month mission. One crew member, Shana Gifford, described the team as, quote, 6 people who want to change the world by making it possible for people to leave it at will. Not just get out of Illinois, get out of the solar system. Well, not the solar system, but get out of the planet altogether. She's got a blog, livefrommars.life, that she'll be updating as internet access is provided.
This reminds me of, I used to live in Tucson, Biosphere. Do you remember Biosphere? And then there was Biosphere 2.
Sure I do.
And anytime somebody walked out of Biosphere, it was a big deal. We had to go live in front of Biosphere. Somebody's escaping. Somebody needs medical attention. Somebody just quit. I mean, it sounds like the same type of environment.
Yeah, this is not the first isolation experiment. One of the investigators in this, Kim Binstead, spent 8 months, and she said during the 8-month cohabitation mission, which ended earlier this year, conflicts did arise.
Okay.
She said she couldn't go into the detail about the nature of them without breaching confidentiality, but the crew was able to work through their problems. So we'll see 6 people enter. We'll see if 6 people leave in a year from this isolation experiment.
Eat each other.
Do you ever see have you watched the show at all, Wayward Pines?
No.
It's M. Night Shyamalan. It's starring Matt Dillon. They just did one season, which recently concluded, and it's essentially about this town in Idaho that is the last remaining pocket of civilization in a post-apocalyptic world. It's kind of interesting. It sounds a little bit like this isolation experiment, which I would like to participate in.
I just remember when I'd go to Biosphere, I felt like I was going to the zoo and staring at caged animals, but they were human beings like myself.
Yes.
It was strange.
They are.
I couldn't even throw them food, Dan.
These are 6 people who want to change the world by making it possible for people to leave it at will. Yeah.
All right.
How about that? Are you interested in going to Mars?
No, I'm a little claustrophobic, so I wouldn't last 2 seconds
It's
in a tiny capsule.
According to NASA, the trip to Mars, a human mission to Mars, would take between 1 and 3 years.
Oh, no, I don't even want to.
I
can't even think about it without getting my blood pressure rising.
I won't. I mean, I won't even do like a stopover if I'm flying to D.C. I don't know if I could do 3 years in a shuttle to Mars. Verlin on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, I just want to say, I'm sorry to those to that sheriff's family member. Nobody should ever get dead like that. An innocent man pumping his gas. That could have been me or you. No matter what beef I have with the police in Chicago, that should never happen to anyone. And I want to say that Black Lives Matter group, they're starting to become extremists in my book, because all the stuff they doing, taking the mic from politicians and getting in people's faces, and they don't even have a goal. They just get in people's face and say, listen, we getting done wrong. Okay, what Hillary Clinton even asked them, what can I do to make it better? They like, duh, we don't know. They just acting like mindless extremist people, and I think that somebody need to put a check on.
Thanks for the call, Verlin. Appreciate it.
I would love Black Lives Matter protesters to confront Donald Trump and see what happens there, because that's the time that somebody needs to tell them to shut up, sit down, shut up.
Stephanie in Lake Forest.
I'd like to make a comment. We were at the Northwestern graduation this year.
I'm sorry.
And the president of the university had a moment of silence for the 8 blacks that were gunned down in that church. I'd like to know how many university presidents are going to be welcoming their freshman class this year and having a moment of silence for every police officer that's been gunned down. So we'll put it out there.
Well, 80
Thanks for the call, Stephanie. I think it's going to be a round number, the number of university presidents doing that.
Yeah, but 80 police officers have been killed this year alone, 27 by gunfire, and most of them have come from the state of Texas.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Well, the fog has lifted. The sun is shining in certain places. By the lakefront, it sure is. And it's going to be warm today, a high of 85. We haven't been into the 80s in a while. Tonight, clear, a low of 68. And tomorrow, hot and humid, a high near 90. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The Edens inbound is running about 25 minutes now. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 33. The Kennedy, 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32. The Ike at 48 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, the outbound side at 36. Stevenson still heavy at 54 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound has cleared up. The Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, much lighter now. Still heavy approaching Harlem. There was an earlier crash. The Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway stop and go 25 to 59. There's a crash to the left shoulder. Also slow Bussey to Lee. Reagan Tollway slow 31 to Eola. Crash there on the left side. The northbound Veterans Memorial still really slow going from I-55 to 88, the Reagan Tollway. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Painting is personal. That's why I've chosen CertaPro to do some painting for me. With CertaPro, you get the best of both worlds. It's America's largest painting company, yet they're your neighborhood painter. Call Patty at 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. Patty will arrange a meeting with Otis. He comes over and takes measurements and lets you know about the color specialist who can help you make your home a personal expression of you. Angel came to paint my house. He moved the furniture, painted, cleaned up, and when he finished painting, he moved everything back again so quiet he wouldn't wake a baby. CertaPro brings expertise, security, and quality to ensure your complete satisfaction for a job you can count on and be proud of. Go to CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. CertaPro, because painting, it's personal.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you wanted to do an FHA Streamline refinance to lower your interest rate and payment, you called me and I helped you. When you wanted to refinance your 11% loan, you called me and I helped you. When you wanted to use your retirement assets to do an asset depletion loan, you called me and I helped you. If you'd like to talk to me about a mortgage, please call me at 312-751-1333. 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's David at PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free consultation so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Individual results may vary. Call 1-800-600-7926. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 10% off your all-laser LASIK procedure. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free consultation, call 1-800-600-7926. 1-800-600-7926.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
I love our Amish texter.
Oh, I thought we were going to go with My City Was Gone, the Rush Limbaugh
real
theme
quick.
music.
Come on, shutting yourself inside a dome in Hawaii is no challenge. Try doing it in North Dakota in the wintertime. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know. Well done, Irish texter. Chrissy Hind, she, the front woman for The Pretenders, of course. She's got a autobiography out entitled Reckless, and I believe that is an appropriate title for her autobiography based on what she had to say about sexual assault. She said, basically, you shouldn't dress provocatively if you're a woman if you don't want to be raped. If I'm walking around in my underwear and I'm drunk, whose else fault can it be? Or the guy who attacks you? Come on, that's just silly. If I'm walking around and I'm very modestly dressed, I'm keeping to myself and someone attacks me, then I'd say that it's his fault. But if I'm being very leery and putting it about and being provocative, then you're enticing someone who's already unhinged. Don't do that. If you don't want to entice a rapist, don't wear high heels so you can run from him. If you're wearing something that says, come and blank me, you'd better be good on your feet. And I don't think I'm saying anything controversial. Am I? That was a rhetorical question.
Am I?
I would answer it by saying, I think you are saying something controversial and rather silly.
She took full responsibility for her own sexual assault, which took place 40 years ago in Ohio. And I think she tried to internalize her story and project it onto us, all the other women out there, people who have been sexually assaulted, people who have been raped. Rape is not about what a woman is wearing. Rape is about animalistic behavior and about control and power and domination. So I think she owes real rape victims out there an apology.
Well, one of the responses has been to essentially highlight that this is how victims of sexual assault wrongly blame themselves for their ordeals, and maybe she's kind of still in that place many decades later.
Did you not see the movie The Accused with Jodie Foster from 1988?
I don't know.
Hello?
I'm not sure about her movie-watching habits. I don't know.
But
Good follow-up question.
Short skirt? Oh, she got raped. Why? Because she was wearing a short skirt.
Speaking of the Video Music Awards and your fascination with Miley Cyrus, Miss Hind also said something maybe less controversial.
What?
Pop stars who call themselves feminists but use their sex appeal to sell records were effectively just prostitutes.
Now, I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
If you watched the MTV Music Awards last night, Miley Cyrus, just not a good look. But she kept showing more skin and more skin and more skin. And how far can I push the envelope? Look at me, society.
I will defile myself to whatever extent required to get your attention. Hine went on to say, I'm not making a value judgment on prostitutes, but just say what you are. I like the Pretenders. I like the music. Christy Hine Chrissy is maybe a little bit...
well, now she's 64 years old and
haywire.
Still wearing tight jeans.
You know, like I always say and do, if you got it.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If the battery pack in your hybrid fails, that can be a huge unexpected expense. Dan Proft here for Midwest Performance Cars. In addition to complete maintenance and repair of European automobiles, Midwest Performance Cars is a certified hybrid shop location. Their technicians have undergone extensive training and can test and recondition your Toyota or Honda hybrid battery pack at a price hundreds less than your dealer. MPC can also perform a comprehensive pre-purchase inspection on hybrid vehicles and provide an accurate assessment of the health of your hybrid battery pack. The longevity of battery packs is a known drawback of a hybrid vehicle. Midwest Performance Cars offers an exclusive technology that can restore your battery to over 95% of its original performance. Take your hybrid to the dealership with a check engine light and they'll probably tell you that you need a new battery, costing you $3,000 to $5,000. With MPC's battery conditioning technology, you could potentially save up to 50%, keeping thousands of dollars in your pocket. They're located in Chicago's West Loop at the corner of Lake and Ogden. Free Lyft and Uber shuttle service available. Online at MidwestPerformanceCars.com. Midwest Performance Cars, the dealer alternative, an expert source for European auto maintenance and repair.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This summer was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
It's fantastic. My husband is loving the product. I'm so happy that I ordered it.
Yeah, I haven't got sick in a year, first time in my life.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
First impressions are tricky. You want to be sure you've represented yourself in the best way possible. When it comes to business, it's no different. You still just get that one chance to make the best impact.
Solani & Associates specializes in making that impact for your business. The team at Solani knows that retail packaging and merchandising solutions can make or break your sales. It starts with you, listening to your ideas and creating a trusted relationship. The Solani & Associates team will then deliver the bells and whistles without the smoke and mirrors. They'll design from concept to finished product and provide prototyping, fulfillment, manufacturing, and logistics as well. The quality, price, and turnaround of your finished product will make you a client for life.
For increased sales potential at the retail level, you need Solani & Associates. Take a tour online at Solani.com. That's SALANI.com. Make an appointment today to discuss your personal packaging and merchandising solutions. That's Solani.com.
Banks have been foreclosing on people's homes at an unprecedented rate. Enough is enough.
It's time to fight back and level the playing field. The attorneys of Bridges & O and Associates have an intense understanding of foreclosure law. Experienced attorneys will passionately litigate against and negotiate with your bank for a permanent loan restructuring. They are proud to help educate and protect families, keeping you in your home, reducing your stress, and giving you time to get back on your feet. Don't just sit there and lose your home. They can put you back in control. Get the upper hand when negotiating with your bank with their free evaluation. Then Bridges & O and Associates will develop a plan that will help your family now, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, even 5 years from now. Call 224-513-1231 or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense law firm. 224-513-1231 or FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Bridges & O and Associates. You have rights. Don't give up your home.
The Bolingbrook American Legion and VFW have set aside a special day to say thanks to all those who have served in our military. This Saturday, September 5th, join them for a special festival at the Bolingbrook Town Center. Admission is free. All veterans and active duty military will receive a free sandwich and 2 beverages of their choice. Live music, food vendors, and children's activities will be available. No need to register, just show up. For more info, visit 560theanswer.com and search the keyword veteran.
Well, we've had a wonderful Monday morning here in our studios. Thank you so much for listening. Our thanks also to David Stripling and Cesar Perez.
Shake and bake.
We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching. Fire destroys a north side Lincoln Square Lane bowling alley. The Cubs pitcher throws a no-hitter. WIND.